What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there? Let me make sure that the audio is good. Yeah, we should be good. How's everybody feeling out there? Welcome in, guys.
Woo!
Woo, indeed.
Usher the chat. Yay!
all of the above. All of the above.
I'm just feeling my pecker.
I cannot wait to feel your pecker.
It begins.
I know.
It
Wanna
begins.
feel my
Super
pecker
excited.
chat.
Welcome in, everybody. This is episode 1 of The Haunting of Harrowstone, and I will be your storyteller this evening, along with these amazing people here that I've managed to find all over the internet in various places. How are you guys as the players feeling? You excited? You nervous? You worried at all?
I just got
Yes.
off work, so I'm like, I'm here.
I'm in
I
the
have
same
no
spot.
idea.
I have no idea.
This
know what?
is going to be excellent.
Perfect. This is good.
Just
No.
excited to be here.
You know, I'm happy to have you. Happy to have you here. So, we have 4 somewhat veteran to veteran players and 1 brand new player to the table today. And this is going to be an experience that is sort of lined up to reintroduce. It's a learn by play experience for those that haven't played Pathfinder or that have just been looking to get to play for the first time. And we will be playing and operating in a town called Ravengro. Would you guys like to start?
Yeah.
I've been waiting weeks. Yes.
I know, it's so weird now that we're here and you're like, do you want to? So it's like, oh, I guess that's why we're here. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I would. I
Yes.
would like to see.
yes.
Mm.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So just so everybody knows, we do use this studio suite called Roll20. Roll20 is free. Anybody can hop in and play. There are some paywalls to get things that you might want to utilize, such as like dynamic lighting or other things if you want to access API. But for the use of this game, it is just the basic roll with the flow, Roll20. Easy enough. So friends, episode 1. I'm going to set the scene. And let's do this. Perfect. Each of you have received a notification, an invitation of sorts, something that you rarely look forward to. You receive notice of the passing of an ally, a friend, a comrade, a compatriot, whatever you may call him. Pedros Lorimore, world-renowned instructor, professor, scholar. You had met him at some point in your past, and due to unforeseen events, an accident has rendered him deceased. The notification was specifically that you've been named in his last will and testament. It's entirely to you to venture to the town of Ravengro, south of Lepidstadt. How you get there is entirely up to you. If you want to be on time, if you want to be late, again, entirely up to you. I'm assuming
I'm
that
gonna be
everybody
on
wants to be
time.
timely. That's my guess.
I'm going to be on time.
It's
Yeah.
going to be early.
You gonna be early?
I'm gonna be late.
I'm going to
Okay.
watch as everybody filters in, try to survey the area.
I
You
love
know,
it.
for
Perfect.
suspicious.
How about,
I'll make my way there, probably by trade wagon.
okay. Temerity, how about you?
I will get there slightly early, but like McGonagall style, sit on a wall and just watch everybody come in and decide when I go in. Probably not last, but definitely not first. But I'm not a cat, so different.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to divulge many of the town secrets or even some of the more forthcoming and brilliantly known information as of yet. But for those of you that may have some history in the area, Ravengro is a town that was not very successful by any means. It didn't have any brilliant trades. It had nothing that was beautiful about it. There was no university, no school, no education. Magic was very lacking in the area. But what it became known for was a prison. A prison by the name of Harrowstone. It became sort of a gulag. Someone decided, well, there's nothing here. We need something that's going to be our claim to fame, that's going to push economy in our area. So they created a super prison. Now, admittedly, that sounds far more daunting than not, but it is a medieval prison, and terrible things did occur. Harrowstone was like a supermax, specifically for Ustalav and Western Golarian's worst of the worst. Some real nasty bad boys were here. But up until about 50 years ago, something happened and everything went quiet. Nobody ever heard anything more about it. Your best guess is it just didn't work for one reason or another. Housing that many super criminals in a regular prison was just bound to fail. But you never found out why. If you have an interest, you could seek it out while you're here in town, but for now, your arrival is welcomed via wagon in the rain. As the rain peppers downward, beads and pellets striking your carriage top, and the wind blasts the side, the wagon doors. The storm rages. Foreshadow, foreboding. Something only time will tell. Some of you have divine protection, or at least you so believe. Others of you feel you're not so lucky, and you couldn't care less. Whatever the case may be, your arrival to Ravengro is quiet. It seems uneventful. Who would like to go first?
I'll walk in.
Should we go in the order that we arrive?
Sure. This is as open-ended as it gets.
Yeah, I'll say I'm the first to arrive, or second to arrive, first to go in.
Right. Describe what you look like, not only for myself, but for those that are watching at home.
Hey chat. Rye is about 6'3", 205 bruiser. He is very muscular, very slim. He's got brown hair, brown eyes. Looks a lot like me, actually. Scarring all over his face, some new, some old, bruised eye. He looks like somebody you wouldn't really want to fuck with, to be honest. Doesn't have a kind demeanor about him. He's kind of a grizzly looking survivalist is really kind of what he's all about.
Does he brandish any weapons? Anything that might stand out?
No, actually he doesn't use any weapons. Well, nothing conventional anyways. Oh, I like that lightning right when I said that.
Perfect. Okay. And you arrived at the town of Ravengro by horseback, by carriage. How do you feel like you arrive here?
I probably came in with whatever merchant or carriage was coming in. I travel sometimes alone, but usually I'm traveling with merchants as a sort of merchant guard.
Okay.
Caravan guard.
And you were traveling with merchants at this time. Would you like to pick who, or would you rather I take a bit of a go at whom you were traveling with at the time?
You go for it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Then you were traveling with dwarves. You're actually the guard of a dwarven trade. Blacksmiths. They were en route to aid in what they described to you in as brief a description as possible it could only be seen as a retaking, as they've described it. Their home was lost. And when they speak of it, there is such passion, and it's something that they wish to take back. And all that they can really describe is that it was an unforeseen event and circumstances. That the earth swallowed their home, and the land around it was claimed by giants. So now they are aiding and abetting in the retaking of that home. But they needed to make some coin on the way there. They offered to pay you whatever it is that you asked for because you have a reputation. Your reputation precedes you most wherever you go. The scars might have something to deal with it. Who knows? But when you arrive, there is no welcoming committee. No welcome wagon. You're dropped off, they say their goodbyes. And you're here. This cold and quiet town.
All right. Well, I just, sort of look around, try to get my bearing. It's hard to see because it's raining. Wind's blowing in my face, but that's nothing new. So, yeah, I guess I roll perception to see if I can find where I need to go, or if there's somebody nearby that I can ask where to get to
Sure. Sure, go-
Because
Petros.
I called him Petey before.
Yeah, you called him Petey.
Petros, yes, Petros home.
Go for it. Give me a perception check.
Sure, and this will help me practice the roll here. So, do I just drag it?
You just click perception on your character sheet.
Okay. Did that do it?
Yes, it did.
Awesome.
That's really good. You started with a 19 on the die, so 20.
Kicking it off with a 20, I
Yeah.
mean,
Way to set the bar, my guy.
Hey man, I'm here to fucking D&D. All right.
I'm here
Hold
to
down
lower
your
that
Dice
bar.
rolling.
Yeah, it's all
I'm here to
downhill
lower
from
that
here.
bar. Yeah. Well, I'll start. Well, yeah. I'll start us here, and you guys can ruin everything. I'm
Perfect.
good with that.
It's late, and as expected, the overcast weather has not really encouraged many people to be out. You do not see anybody outside. You do see lights flickering with inside, open portlets of windows, but you don't see anything that really is remarkable or visible in the way of people. However, something
Okay.
does catch your eye. Something is moving to you in the darkness. Your perception catches something very low, and in the wilds, you would expect something like maybe a badger, perhaps if it was a bipedal creature, maybe a goblin attempting to move up. But no, this is something different. Something swaths and beats through the mud and the water. It's moving in
I
forms.
ready an attack. If something comes close to me, I will attempt to grab it.
Sure.
Yep, immediately.
A low flash of thunder crashing over the horizon. Lightning illuminates what appears to be a dog. A small hound. Probably around 45 or 50 pounds. Just this small dog. Very aged. You see the white hairs seem to pour back and paint its face. He just seems to be walking up to you. His head low, tail wagging,
Tail
sheepishly.
wagging. Good night, baby. Sorry, Jeannie's going.
You're totally fine.
I slowly start to reach into my pack. I'm looking for some sort of jerky or something.
Yeah.
I want to offer it, and as I do, I say, "Hey, boy, come here."
The dog seems to what looks like furls the lips, but not out of anger, but like almost a child or puppy-like smile. The eyes kind of squint really tightly. Its head lowers, and the tail seems to wag back and forth before finally moving up to you, absolutely drenched.
Oh, there's. I'm working on the voice too, so
Sure,
just
take your
bear with
time.
me. There you go, boy. Nothing to be scared of here. And I kind of bend down and I kind of reach out with the jerky to see if he'll. I'm kind of just,
Yeah.
calling him over. Just
The-
making
the-
a little.
He was already moving in that direction to you, a little slow when he saw that you
Okay.
changed your stance, but when you went to a bit more of a welcoming approach, he steepled down a little bit lower and moved in. And the moment that he gets next to you, he sort of drops down, sits next to your leg, and he starts smelling the air when you bring out the jerky. And it follows your hand for a while before finally bringing it to his face.
Oh, that's a good boy. Here you go. And I start feeding him.
Sure.
I slowly attempt, as I feed him, to kind of move my hand close just to let him sort of sniff. Not to pet. Just kind of, I'm ready to move away, though. And
Yeah.
I'm like ready in action
Yeah.
to back off. But, it's a nice dog. Seems nice.
Yeah, the moment that you sort of like begin to bring your hand in, he leans into your leg and like throws his head up into your side and like chest, and he seems to trying to force some affection onto you. He's drenched, absolutely soaked. He's a long-haired dog.
Okay. How close is he to me right now?
He is in your threatened range. Like he's as close as he's gonna get without actually climbing on top of you.
Okay. I want to attempt to grapple it, and I want to try to kill it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like, I feel like I have to
I
ask.
want to grab it, and I want to try to either choke it out or snap its neck or something. Yes, I've lured it in close enough. I'm ready to kill.
Sure. I got you.
Sure.
I'm assuming that you're kind of like leaning into like pets is my guess.
What's that?
Like I'm assuming that you're kind of like leaning in to actually pet him.
Yes. Yeah. Oh
Sure.
yeah.
Lulling into that sense of security.
Of course.
You notice right as you're starting to like get your arm up around his neck, another wagon is coming into view. You didn't hear it at first, but with another crest of lightning over the horizon, you can see it. It's probably no more than 25 or 30 feet out.
Okay. Does it frighten the dog?
The dog seems to like look over and stands up, but it doesn't really do anything yet.
I look at the dog and I kind of stand up, and now my attention's kind of over at the caravan coming up, or whatever's coming up now.
Okay. Who would like to be arriving next?
So
last, I think. 'cause
Yeah, I
I was
said-
going to be late.
And I was gonna get there right, like around on time and watch. I think that I'll just be coming up just now,
Okay, sure.
but not really going towards the house as much as like going near the house, just kind of watching.
Okay. You arrive by wagon, carriage. You have, how would you like to have arrived? Is this your carriage? Are you borrowing from a church? Have you
I would
paid
say
people?
I'm borrowing from a church, from
Okay.
the Temple of Pharasma.
Okay, so then this is your personal carriage for the time being.
Right. Kind of
And-
like an Uber.
Can you describe what you look like so that I myself can remember, and the viewers at home as well?
Yes. I have light blue skin, dark black hair, silvery horns. They are an unnatural color, so it is not normal to see necessarily. I'm wearing kind of a long trench coat, very inquisitor-like, and I'll step out of the carriage and kind of duck my head out and throw my coat out before me so I don't step on it, and just kind of survey the rainy. Like I have a hat on. I don't
Sure.
right now, but I have a hat on because it's raining.
Is this like
No.
a leather duster, or is it an armored apron?
For the hat? Oh, you mean
No,
the
for your coat.
Oh, leather duster.
Okay, leather duster, and you said Pharasma, so I'm guessing that it probably branches the insignia and logo or symbol of Pharasma.
Yes.
Okay, can I get a perception from you on your way in? There's something that I was curious to know if you would have seen.
Do I see this
Like
happening?
the murdering of a
Oh my God, we're
doggo?
killing it.
Temerity. On your way in, you passed by a sign on the main road leading and welcoming those to Ravengro. There is, in fact, a symbol of Pharasma carved into a wooden invitation, and you specifically would know what this means. This particular symbol is a warning. Warning to all nearby to leave the dead departed. This is particularly a warning that they do not like necromancers. This land is not far flung from what was once a strong aura of necromancy. I'm sure in your teachings at Temple, you had discovered that there was a pretty bad dude in this area called Tarbathon, and he was a lich, raising the dead into an army to wage war and pretty much take as much of Galarian as he possibly could. So this is a warning to necromancers. Ustalav was home to Tarbathon. But on your way in, with light flashing, a wagon leaving, there stands a man, now facing your direction. Near him is a dog, probably 2 to 3 feet away from him. And the dog is just waiting. Nothing that seems to look like he's super excited. He's just watching. You dismount, and you see them, both.
I look up and look in the direction of the her character,
A tiefling.
and I don't say anything. I'm just kind of watching her.
You see the fair blue skin that seems to eke out and stand almost as if it's beautifully painted so. Not something that you see all too common. Something seems to rise out of her hair. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Are your eyes like shining or nothing like that? They're just regular
No,
eyes.
I think I just picked dark brown eyes.
Okay. All right. I was just curious.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess with contacts.
I'm curious, how long is your duster? Is it like to the ground?
It's like Hugh Jackman.
Okay. All right. I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. This is the only individual here. Nothing immediately makes you think that there is a funeral. There's no funeral procession. There's nothing. It's quiet. It's quiet, and it seems relatively late. It's probably 8:30 or so in the evening. 45:79. That's the year. Not that that's really going to matter much to you guys.
Well, I'll go ahead and start the dialogue. I'll just kind of looking at her, and she walks up. She looks pretty immaculate, even in the rain, you know. And I just say, "And who might you be?"
Foreign welcome.
That depends on who wants to know.
Malcolm, actually.
Oh.
And I put my hand out.
I'll take the hand offered. Temerity.
When you shake my hand, I pull back my hood with the other hand, and you can kind of see that my face is pretty scarred up. Pretty rough looking character.
Yeah.
But I'm gentle with your hand. I'm not rough at all. It's a quaint handshake.
And I will return it in kind. Your visage does not seem to bother me. It doesn't throw me, it's as if I perhaps have seen similar things in the past.
Yeah, I think I throw it off kind of to kind of see how you react to
Right.
it too. You know, like a shock, like here I am. All right. And I don't see any kind of.
No. It's
Okay,
almost, yeah, very, very like, no, I get what you're doing. Nice to meet you.
I follow up with I assume you're here for Petro.
In fact, I am. Are you?
I kind of just turn, look around. Well, I thought I was. I can't seem to find the place.
Were we given, Bub, were we given a, like...
Yes,
It's
you
kind of
were.
like a scroll with like a map and like here's where you go.
Yep. You were
Okay.
given what looks to be some sort of very rudimentarily drawn map. And there is a home that is listed as the Lorimore Residence. It's not far from here.
Okay. I will as soon as the handshake naturally ends, I'll reach into my coat, pull out scroll. Well, if that's where you're headed, as I am as well, I believe we're in the right path. Perhaps you and is that your companion?
A dog
I'll
seems
point
to
to
move
the
up
dog.
quickly, with smile on its face and eye downwardly pointed. It moves up, tail wagging, and it starts to smell you if you'll allow it.
Me?
Yes.
Oh yes. I will brush back my duster and kind of squat down and give the dog a little scruff.
Sure. And
Behind
it's,
its
I sort of smile. I just kind of smile and say, "Yeah, he's a new friend."
I like friends. My own tail kind of peeks out a little bit as I whack back the coat, but quickly hidden again. And I'll
Right,
yeah,
give me a perception, Rye. I'm curious.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to pull off another 20 with a 1, but I'll go for it. Perception?
Yes. Not as great, but because she led with this specifically, there is a flash of lightning again, and briefly, something whips from under the rear side of her duster. And it takes you a moment to realize, but she has a tail. Seems to move, almost at welcome to the hound, but as quick as the duster had moved, it shifts back, and then it's gone.
Now, okay, hold on. I don't. Rye doesn't have a great grasp on a lot of other races, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to kind of notice it and think she just has a tail, maybe. I don't know.
How would the last three of you like to arrive? By wagon or by horseback? Are you walking alongside a steed through the rain? I'm curious.
I would say on horseback.
Okay. Okay. All right. Seems good. How about we get you two to arrive at the same time? We'll say that, Eli, you've managed to hitch a ride on Torvin's caravan, so you might even be like giving the previous driver a break so that he can rest before returning back. You're currently piloting the carriage.
Okay.
You know that the guest,
Um,
Torvin, you may have caught a name. Torvin is on his way. Similarly, there may have been brief speak. Not sure how much you would have revealed, but you both have an idea that you're there to see Petros. Short of that, he's probably staying inside of the wagon.
Okay. Well, Eli will be pretty comfortable with that since he was raised by a dwarf in his upbringing, and he also worships Torag, which is a dwarven god. So he fits right in with a lot of that race and knows a lot of their in and outs. So
Cool.
being a paladin, he'll just be able to handle animals well enough to be able to take over and to finish the last leg of the journey, because
Sure.
he'd probably want to be out in front anyway, just be able to survey the area to make sure everything's pretty copacetic as they arrive. And he's a little under 6 feet tall, shaggy brown hair, green eyes, pretty average looking, aside from the warhammer and shield that he carries over his backpack. He's got his warhammer on his side, and he's got green eyes, and mostly he has a stoic kind of demeanor, but when he engages with other people, he becomes more friendly and charismatic, although he is less trusting of people than he leads on. And when they arrive, he'll just pull in and jump off the cart and move around back to probably have a quick talk with Torvin, let them know that they're here and get everybody together with, the mud kicking up from all the rain.
Perfect.
And the darkness.
Similarly, on your ride in, you see the welcome sign to Ravengro. I'm curious if you would know the symbol, however, that is carved into the welcome sign itself. Do you have knowledge religion?
I do have knowledge, religion, and nobility.
Can you give me a roll for knowledge religion?
Okay.
Not bad. You can recognize that it is a symbol that seems to deviate from Pharasma, but you can't quite know. You don't know exactly what it means. And Pharasma is the god of the dead, particularly those that she wishes to stay dead. So it probably has something to do with that, is your guess. Pharasma is a very well-known and respected deity in Western Golarion, and, well, there's a temple to Pharasma in every town. So you are not completely bereft of knowledge of this particular god. Why it's carved into the sign, you're not sure, but within another 30 or 40 meters via horseback, you see the first signs of people. What appears to be a man, and your best guess is a woman, at least by frame, and there seems to be an emblazoned sigil or symbol of Pharasma on the duster that they wear. This person seems to be petting a hound. You pull the carriage to stop, and jostles forward Torvin. You're familiar with a caravan stopping. And you hear the dismounting of the carriage driver.
Oh, who is stopping again?
No, we're here, Torvin. End of our journey, into the road.
Oh, thank the God. This cold is terrible.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can go figure out what's going on here.
Perfect. Rye, Temerity, you overhear the boisterous yells of what you can only assume is a dwarf. You would be shocked to find anything other than a dwarf step out of the back of this caravan. And certainly enough, Torvin, describe yourself, please.
Torvin is about 4 foot tall, quite thin for a dwarf, not, the usual big stout fella. He wears more clothes, though, at the moment as such. But his clothing is quite well maintained, quite old, but high quality, something that you buy once and then just look after it for a while. He's probably got everything packed up, so at the moment, really, all you can see is a cloak, a large amount of black hair that's combed back and fashionable. He has a short beard, cut more like a goatee, like the kids are doing these days.
Yeah.
He does have a little bit of grey in his hair. He is showing his age a little bit.
Perfect. Perfect. Is there anything of note physically? Similar scars like Rye might have?
Yeah, a very good point. Yeah. So he might have a giant tattoo on one side of his face. So that's an important point.
Okay. What does it look like?
There is some black tribal like lineage put around his face, but the main one is a large red hammer, which represents a group that's fairly new. It's only been around for about 100 years or so, of dwarves that are trying to help other dwarves escape the refugees from the areas when the dwarves and the giants fought, and of course the giants are winning. So we're very close to that area, and they're known to work with this group to actually get people out and also to fight back.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And what is this group called?
Oh, the Red Hammer.
The Red Hammer. The Red Hammer. Perfect. Okay. And Eli, Torvin, I think this is more of a question for you. Would you have explained to Eli what the Red Hammer is?
Oh, if he's even vaguely interested in hearing, I'm telling everybody. Yeah, of course, yes.
Okay. Eli, would you be interested in hearing these things from a dwarf, or do you think this is something you just sort of passed on?
Anything with the dwarven lifestyle, he's inherently either has some sort of affiliation with or interest in, considering he worships a dwarven god. So.
Okay.
In that case, I will have spent the entire trip trying to convince him to join this honorable cause.
All right. Well, Eli, you've managed to pull up next to another wagon. This one seems to be a bit more Gothic by design. And you recognize the holy symbol yet again. It is a symbol of Pharasma, a black carriage drawn large wagon wheels, very like ornate steel wagon wheels. This was expensive. This is either someone from nobility or someone that is respected within the church to a degree. And, well, the steed are beautifully well kept in the finest condition. But then you see now what you would guess is probably a woman. You can't really tell because you can't see the face much. And the man, you see the symbol of Pharasma on her back. That's probably, 2 and 2 together, the situation.
Mm-hmm. He would assume that there was some link with the symbols, and maybe not even so much that she was there to for the same reason as him. Maybe just because that, maybe they already had work in the town. He would assume.
Yeah. Okay. You see them. Each of you can respectively see each other. Torvin, do you dismount the carriage or do you just continue yelling from the back of the wagon?
Oh no, I jump off.
Okay. You leap out. You stick the landing, and you can see that there appears to be a person, probably within 15 or so feet of you, that is graciously applying love to a hound. And the dog is just very, very happily taking it in. The man seems to be a bit more, what is the best way here? I would say standoffish, but not quite brandishing any weapons. Very strong and physical gait in the way that they stand. Legs just proportioned enough in the left and right stance so that they can't be swept. This is someone that knows their way around a fight. And when the lightning flashes yet again, you can see the scars similarly all over their face. They didn't have a very solid upbringing, or at least spent far more time fighting than not.
I would give the horse a pat on its mane, try to calm it with the thunder and the weather. And then I would look over to Torvin and I would say, "Well, should we go try to get our bearings, see if these two know anything going? What's going on around here?"
I look around and see if I can see a tavern. Oh, what time is it?
It's just after nightfall at this point, so it's right around what would the equivalent be of like 8:30 in the evening.
Where's the tavern?
I think we'll have plenty of time for that later, Torvin. I'm eager to get to drinking as well.
No. Look, I'm food. I'm hungry. I've been on eating a tuck. No, I want food. Where are we going?
Hungry. I'm sure we'll find it a good time.
Whereabouts is like the noise? Whereabouts is the most people gathered in the town? Is there a point of focus to go towards?
There is a town square, yes, and you're not far from it. You've managed to pull up just outside, I would say about 40 or so feet away from what looks to be a gazebo. And all pretty much decorated like it's a sunflower of sorts. This gazebo has a myriad of buildings. Occasionally, the four of you will see that there is a person that is coming and going from that, but they dip into an alley, and you don't see them ever again. You're muted.
Mute. When I see the dwarf, when I see Wyld's character, I start walking over towards him, and I kind of eye Temerity as I walk past. But I start walking, and I say, "Oh, oi,
I
dwarf."
put my hand on my little hammer under my cloak. Yeah.
Sure. He
I
looks to
walk
you.
up and I offer my hand, and I say, "Name's Malcolm."
I take a moment to look at the hand. Can I grasp it? Aye, that'd be good, son.
I traveled with many of your type, good people.
Aye.
That's all I say. I just kind of step back and just kind of watch him.
You watch for a while. Well,
I,
the options
look
are...
at Eli.
What's
So I'll
that?
cross my arms and just look at both of them in an untrusting fashion, more so towards Malcolm. I would say, just very timid.
I notice him, but I didn't extend a hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Similarly, he is, he's not quick to greet you. He recognizes you, but he maintains a healthy distance. Temerity, the dog seems to be glancing around, and after a while of the pets, it seems to stand and start making its way back to the gazebo. After a few moments, you realize that it moves up, away from the rain, and is resting there.
All right. Well, I'll stand back up and look where the other person, because I am assuming this hound was Malcolm's. So I'll just stand up and turn around and see that he's talking to two new people and stride up. Are you both here as well for the funeral?
That's about right. Although it was a pretty vague message that we were sent, so I would like to find some more information out as to what might have caused his demise.
I think that's fair, and I'll reach my hand out to starting with Eli, since he spoke first, and introduce myself. Temerity, nice to make your acquaintance.
Eli will look at her hand, and since she seems more aware of him and approaches him in a friendly fashion, he'll reach out and shake his hand, shake her hand, and introduce himself as Eli as well. Eli, pleasure.
And then I'll turn to Torvin and do the same.
Aye, Torvin, helm shutter.
The introductions continue for a while. Everybody seems fairly well introduced. Torvin, Eli, Temerity, and Malcolm. An odd bunch. Oz, when do you believe that you will be arriving? Is this a safe time?
Whenever you feel like it would be a good time, but it's late for sure. And
Yeah.
he's probably I imagine this, and you could tell me if it works or not. I imagine that he's not traveling in any fancy cart or anything. It's probably like, the person who like delivers like all the milk and all the eggs
Yeah.
and like drops them off at people's houses and stuff. I'm inside that cart. Like I am just part of the grocery list at this point.
Oh, God.
I've hitched a ride on this like ridiculous cart. There's like barely any room, but I'm small. There's clucking of chickens and all kinds of things going on, I'm assuming. It's
Okay.
just a hot mess.
This is, in this case, because of the region and how fast milk can spoil, you probably would be in a relatively small cart. You're likely like, you're sitting in the back of this thing that was designed specifically just to hold any kind of carafe or buckets or what have you. And you're just fitting there very solitarily, clutching on to your...
I have a bucket with a chicken in it.
You have a bucket with a chicken. Is it a chicken or a rooster?
Like, it's a rooster. You're right. It's a rooster.
Okay, with a rooster.
Which is a type of, which is a male chicken. Right?
Yes.
I'm like, wait, a rooster's not chicken?
Well, a hen or a rooster. My bad. So
Gotcha.
you have your rooster, and this is actually a wagon that is pulled via donkey, and there seems to be a man that's walking with his donkey. Bizarrely enough, he didn't mind you paying him a little bit of coin to cart you from town to town. It does save you some stress, some exhaustion, and I'm sure your pecker appreciates that.
Yeah. I'm like made Pecker a little like umbrella.
Describe what you and Pecker look like.
Sure. Oz is a like about 5'2", 230-pound hobgoblin. So he's big, short,
He's a thick boy, but he's not super tall.
He's a big boy. He's adorable. He has like bluish gray skin and like really orange eyes. He kind of wears just adventuring clothes. Like I don't really imagine like pretty nondescript clothing. Like I imagine if I could like some overalls and like a shirt, and he doesn't look like he belongs anywhere fancy. If you saw his head, you would notice that he's bald, but he's really self-conscious about it. So he's like always wearing his wizard hat. Actually, now I like the idea that he has a cloak and then he has his wizard hat over it. So it's like double layer in case he's had some people make fun of him because of it. So he's very like, he's probably like clutching on to his wizard hat while holding the bucket with the chicken with his pecker in it. Yeah, he carries like a ton of food. Like if you look inside his bags and maybe like peeking out, it's just like tons of rations and like feed for Pecker, and he has like a bunch of other random stuff, like just weird stuff that you're like, why would you carry this? But he's carrying it, and I think that's kind of like what he looks like. I don't know if I missed anything.
Perfect. I've gathered. Did you say?
And the chicken or the rooster,
Yeah.
He looks ridiculous. If you've ever seen Google or whatever search engine you like to use, Polish chicken, and then just laugh for like 20 minutes, and but. It's like that, but a combination of a really big, chonky boy.
It's a thickin'.
It's a fat Polish chicken.
Yeah.
That's what's in this really dirty, rusty bucket.
Perfect.
230-pound chicken. Got it.
Oh my lord!
I'm 230 pounds.
I know. I'm joking.
Launch the
Chicken's
chicken.
probably like 80 pounds.
Oh my god!
Jesus, an 80-pound fucking chicken?
And chat was going wild for my 50-pound
Dude,
dog.
I'm telling
Holy
you right now, you better
shit!
keep that chicken away from Rye.
I don't think I'm
Look,
80 pounds.
Everyone
Oh my God.
will love my pecker, all right? You'll fall in love and you won't want to eat him. Well,
He's-
maybe.
He's
I will
well
want to eat
fed.
your pecker. I'm telling you right now.
Don't touch him.
I'll gobble it up.
Good lord! It begins. Perfect. Okay. All right. Oz, do you sit back there quietly? I'm curious. Do you are you sing-songy? Is there anything that you say or do in this time?
I think that in normal circumstances, Oz would be singing. Oz is like a very jovial, happy, go lucky person, but today is a very sad day. And so he's a little melodramatic, and you just hear sobbing every once in a while as he like pets his pecker and looks out. I think as he sees like stuff that's more familiar, like everything starts reminding him of Professor L, and so like he just like starts crying at like everything. He's a little emotional, okay?
I got you. So, you arrive. You probably would hear some discourse before inevitably you hear Oz, we're here. Climb out the cart.
It's kind of like jumps out of the cart, and I feel like the cart just like lifts up.
Probably.
Down. And then he like grabs his stuff and like hooks the belt or the bucket onto his belt and pets Pecker to make sure that they're all right.
So this is 300 pounds of hobgoblin plus pecker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And now we're watching this. We're watching this cart like bump up and down.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can imagine
It's
the
not-
four of us just like
It's not very large. Like it's a two-wheeled cart, a pull behind that is attached to like the bridle of a donkey. The man,
Yeah, you said it was a small cart, so I imagine
Yeah.
that I would wait.
the man is like, he waits. His hand is extended. He's waiting on his
Yeah,
his
I
payment.
pay, and I think he's just like sobbing and wiping away tears, but it doesn't really matter because it's raining, so
Yeah.
you can't even tell that they're tears. And Oz is just like thanks him and says, "It was a good ride. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your services. And if I need a ride back, will I be able to find you anywhere?"
Well, come back in a week. You can be here for a
Alright.
week.
I don't know if I'll be here for a week. It just makes me so sad.
Well, I was
Well,
I'm just supposed to bring you. I'm not equipped to handle the tears.
he just nods.
He kind of looks around.
Just starts just like sobbing, standing there in the rain.
All right. Well, you take care of yourself.
You take care too. You have a good day, night, sir.
He his brows furrow a few times, and he pockets the coins, and he moves up and he whistles to the donkey, and with a light slap, they're back on their way, trudging through the rain.
When Rye sees what was Oz, he's kind of stoic and his arms are folded. He's kind of standing back, but as soon as he sees this hobgoblin, he like drops almost all pretense and is so surprised and just looks over and just points and sort of like absentmindedly says, "What the fuck is that?" Like
Torvin,
I'm just like,
Eli, Temerity, you hear him say that. Can I get a perception check from all four of you, please? With an exception to Oz. I want to see what they actually were witness to here. You got a perception from Temerity.
do you want one for me too?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I want to see exactly what you caught here. Okay, all right. So Temerity, Eli, you saw this. You didn't really catch the details. You couldn't hear it. It was just far enough away. You may have caught some vibrant sobbing, but you didn't really catch much else. There was confusion on the man's face. You did see that much. But short of that, you didn't catch any of the greater details. Rye, Torvin, you would have heard everything. You'd have seen everything. And immediately, this figure turns, and it is a goblinoid face. Not a goblin, not a bugbear. You think it's a hobgoblin. You're not sure. They could just be really ugly. You're not sure. But Ryan with a,
Rude.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and literally a what the fuck is that?
Oz, do you approach?
You're muted.
I
Maggie.
think Oz is just like standing there crying for a moment, and then just like you just see him like
Okay.
petting something in the butt, like putting his hand in the bucket and like just moving his hand, and then he like calms down a little bit, and rubs his tears away, and kind of looks around and tries to get his grounds, I guess, figure out like what's around him, what he sees, and I'm assuming he sees this interesting bunch of folks.
While this is occurring, does anybody else do anything?
Yeah, I'm looking at the other people there to see if they're alarmed at this.
Okay.
Because yeah, this is very strange to me.
I think Eli's not going to. I mean, he's going to cautiously look in the distance, but not realizing that there's a hobgoblin in his presence. He's just going to patiently stand back next to Torvin and kind of wait to see how things unfold with his arms still crossed.
Okay.
Silent.
Torvin, Temerity?
I'm still looking for that tavern.
Sure. You've wandered off at this point.
I'm just gonna kind of like head tilt, like I don't know what the hell is going on here, but I don't quite echo the what the fuck, but maybe in the middle of like I want to go to a bar and what the fuck.
Okay. Torvin has wandered off. Rye, when you glance back to the others, you see that Torvin has immediately disappeared. But Temerity has a confused look on her face, and Eli seems to be watching similarly, but not as confused.
I want to follow Wyld's character if I still can.
Sure. You likely will see Torvin step away. And
Yeah, I figure that I'll probably meet whatever this creature is in a bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole reason I introduced myself to Wyld is because I know that dwarves know how to make their way through a town. They know
They're
how
survivors.
to get to a tavern.
Yeah.
So I'm following him if he steps away.
Sure, I get it. I can see this this relationship spawning. Not necessarily one of pleasure, but certainly one of necessity. So I'm getting a feel for Rye already. I like it. Temerity, Eli, Malcolm and Torvin step away. Torvin has been adamant at this point about finding a tavern, finding some food. He's rather hungry. But this figure stands before you. And Oz, you said your skin was light blue?
It's like bluish gray.
Bluish gray. Okay, like a pebble. A pebble-colored individual standing before you, and you can't quite tell if it's the rain or if they're very, very emotional. Either way, their hand seems to be bobbing inward and outward of this bucket, and you're not really sure what the purpose is as of yet.
It's a dick in a bucket.
Temerity, you just hear from Eli standing next to you. You notice that he is not quite broken glance at this person.
I'm rather perplexed, but I don't want to be the first person to make a move, and I also don't want to follow to where I know Torvin is headed off to, because I immediately want to try and figure out where we're supposed to go.
Okay.
And once I know that I've taken care of that with the professor, then that's what's gonna alleviate some of my concern.
So if in that case, what I'll do is, since I have another quasi blue being in front of me I'm 5'5", so I'm not that much taller.
Right.
So I will do the same thing. Consistency, right? I'll walk up. Are you here for the funeral?
Oz,
You
it
walk
hits
up
you
and
again.
you say that, and
The
Oz
funeral.
just
Just
got
like that.
himself together.
He just composed
And you
himself.
just see him like look at you, and then his eyes, like his orange eyes, just are like swelling up, and he's like, "Yes, I'm here for Professor Ale. I didn't think that this would be the last time I would see him not like this." And now you see what's in the bucket. He's like petting very gently a giant rooster, like huge.
A very chunky rooster.
Well, my first impression is that this is a very smart hobgoblin who travels with dinner. Well, it's very nice to meet. I won't say that though. It's very nice to meet you, Mom Temerity. I too am here for the funeral, and I don't know where everybody else went, but I believe that there's more than just, who knows how many more there are, but there's at least at this point a few. And how much longer do we, when are we supposed to be there? It's like 8:30. You said what time are we supposed to be there?
It was just said the evening of the date.
Okay.
It's nightfall, so you're assuming that it's probably already begun, or at least
Okay.
it will be soon.
Okay.
And I'll speak up and I'll shout over from where I'm standing, still kind of by the remnants of the wagon, and I'll be like, "Are they here for the funeral too?" To Temerity. Just checking.
As you
what's
hear it
going
again, a male voice from probably 15 or so feet behind Temerity. Are they here for the funeral too?
Yes, I'm here for the funeral.
I turn around as if what was said was unintelligible. Yes, they are here for the funeral as well, it seems.
In that case,
Maybe we can all walk together. I could use some companionship. I was mostly around bottles of milk, and it wasn't as nice. I mean, Pecker's been good, but just not as communicative.
So Eli will start to saunter in that direction, but as soon as he realizes that Oz has any sort of goblin-like features, that's immediately going to alert him, because orcs and goblins are his god's basic are the enemies of his people,
Sure.
and so it'll definitely put him on edge, and he'll have a hand on his warhammer at his side, and once he realizes notices some goblin-like features. Yeah. I'm not
Eli,
sure.
as you begin to approach and you start seeing these features, it does raise the hackles a little bit. You're right. It is Torog's chosen enemy. Goblinoids and giant kin alike are not Torog's favorite. But it's at this point that you notice this person, Temerity. Their duster seems to, I don't want to say naturally stand on its own, but it lifts away from the body and it kind of moves, almost preternaturally. Then you notice that despite the hat, this headdress that they're wearing, they have horns.
He'll feel pretty uncomfortable.
Okay.
Now that he's alone with the two, non-humanoids. Although he had a good impression from Temerity at first, and he does recognize the symbol on the cloak for Temerity's god. And so...
And Eli, as soon as you get close enough that you realize that this is a goblinoid, you see that just barely stuffed into this bucket is an enormous rooster. We're talking, that's a huge cock.
I think he'll just have his hand on his hammer and peer from a few feet and just being like, "What in Torag's name is this? Like, what is going on here?"
You say that out loud?
Yes. And yeah, kind of.
I don't know, but I'm here to find out too. I don't know what happened to Professor L. Do you?
And when Oz mentions the professor's name and knowing that they're there for the funeral, he'll probably back off a little bit and be like, and he'll say, "Oh, so you knew the professor then as well?"
Yes, he's a longtime friend. He taught me a lot of things.
It's a very perplexed look over his face, Oz. You see that he's not quite taken aback, but he's very confused.
I think once I realize that Eli will ease up a little bit, realizing that they were an acquaintance of the professor who he holds in very high esteem, and that will make him feel a little bit more on ease, but he still doesn't trust anybody. And I don't even know how he would react to that.
Well, you're certainly taken aback, right? You've never heard anything good about the goblinoid lives. Nothing. Like, it completely goes against, one, the dwarven way, but two, Torog as well. But you've been surprised before. There was a point in your life where you could have been judged. And you know that things turned out brilliantly.
I think he would look at Oz and then just bluntly ask, "So you haven't eaten any children lately, then?"
What? I don't. Did Professor L eat some child?
I'm just standing there watching this, by the way. Like, I am just like tennis match. I'm fascinated.
I think Eli would probably actually chuckle from the reply a little bit, and then he would suggest,
What happened to him? Do any of y'all know?
"That is what I'm here to find out."
Well, it appears we all have something in common then.
And
Fair enough.
As you linger there for a while, trying to gather your bearings, understanding the situation, Eli, with some confusion and not really sure quite where he fits, but willing to swallow his pride briefly, the camera angle turns and veers as it dips past the gazebo where the hound lays. Nearest his spot, there seems to be what looks like some sort of corn cob stuffed animal. Some food. And it appears that there is a sign that has an arrow pointing downward to where the dog is laying, and it says Hap. H-A-P, Hap. But as you approach, the firelight that flickers from a building, the beautifully decorated sign shows a grinning devil. It says the Laughing Demon, Inn and Tavern. A man stumbles out,
Oh,
looking at you, takes another swig of whatever drink he seems to be pulling on from his horn, and then he steps off to a different side of the road. Torvin, Rye, what do you do? Do you see to him? Do you enter the tavern? What are you doing here?
On the way over, were we Wyld? Were we conversing on the way over, or was I sort of
Probably.
just following you?
and
Okay.
probably just about food, really, and alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically just tell you that I knew if I followed you, I'd get to food as fast as possible. So,
So you're very transparent about that.
Yeah, I'm very
Okay.
transparent about that, and I'm a little more loosey goosey around the dwarf. I've just been traveling with a bunch of them, so
Sure.
I'm pretty comfortable around them, and I've gotten to know some of their habits, and I know generally, if you follow a dwarf, if you're hungry, you'll get to food quickly. So I kind of tell him that, and I'm just being friendly and just kind of walking beside him. So as soon as we come across the tavern, I kind of point and I say, yeah, my point made.
Without fail.
The person who is leaving the establishment,
Yes.
anything unusual? Anything strike me? Just
No. Just
Alright,
trying to
I'm-
pull one away emotionally. Something may have happened. Something may have occurred. You can tell that there is some sort of lingering sensation in the area. Things just didn't feel right. And deep down in your gut, you tend to follow with your feelings. That's the one thing that's keen on dwarves is when something doesn't feel right, there's a good chance that it's just not.
I start walking towards the tavern. I don't even pay him any mind, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped for a moment, thinking, just go, well, my tummy's also rumbling, so I'm going to go inside as well.
As you push through the doors, you're greeted with a warming sensation. Before you is a tavern with where you would expect many to be on this evening, but it's relatively vacant. Firelight flickers in the corner. The smell of food does seem to overtake you immediately. Normally, you're used to smelling something a little worse, maybe vomit. The smell of body odor and sweat. But no, here, because of the lack of people, the food seems to permeate the room, and it's strong. A jovial and boisterous man with a large nose, short hair that's kind of cropped on the side with an enormous mustache. He kind of looks like Mario by design. Very thick neck. Seems to be wiping down a table, likely from his last patron. And we are going to shift here into the map overlay so you guys can actually see what your characters look like, and I'll give you your first handout so you know whom you're speaking with. These are your characters here. Rye, Torvin, Oz, Temerity, and Eli. You should be able to see your tokens. In fact, you should have direct control of them. If you'd like to test that, feel free to just click on them and move them anywhere you'd like. And our current character that you're about to meet. Show to players. A man by the name of Zokar Elkarid. Zokar seems to be wiping down a table. Nothing stands out about him, short of his brilliantly bright red cheeks, his shining nose from the perspiration of working a full day, and his smile. As it pulls back, you can see the lines that decorate his face. And when he sees you, he wipes himself briefly, trying to move away any of the perspiration, the sweat, and he opens his eyes and says, "Well, welcome in to the Laughing Demon. I'm Zokar. Hopefully you're hungry. You brought some of that hunger in with you."
Zorka, good to meet you.
Zokar, yes. And the Laughing Demon. And, well, you've come in at the right time. He says so interestingly, and he leans in. But when he does, he tells you, today's special. Wolf balls. Right, pull them off the wolf myself.
Aye.
Sounds great. Perhaps just an ale for me right now.
Ale, easy enough. I'll have my boy get one for you. You like something spicy? Do you want something that warms you? You seem a bit bitter and cold.
Actually, something thick for me.
Thick. Right. We can make that
I'll have
happen.
something warm as well, and a big bowl of wolf balls, please.
Aye. Man who knows what he wants. Perfect. I'll get that for you. He seems to step off, and he whispers something down to what looks to be, I don't want to say a child, but a kid in his early teens. He looks to you. I'm supposed to get you a drink. Dad is gonna make your food. Don't worry, they're not real wolf balls.
Not real.
No, shh, no. You don't.
Oh,
It's part of this. It's how we get people to stay. All the food's named after scary things. We've got wolf balls today. Tomorrow is corpse chowder, and on Fridays we have vampire steaks. It's just beef that's been skewered.
After hearing this, I kind of lean in kind of a very grimace way, and I look him right in the eyes, and I'm prepared to roll intimidation if I need to, and I say, "Are you telling me that there's no fucking wolf balls?"
He kind of cowers back as you lean in, feeling the heat of your breath. No, it's not what I'm saying. There's wolf balls.
I give him a wink and a little smile.
aye. We'll have 2 bowls then.
He quickly turns and runs. It's not long.
I look towards Ryan, start giggling, and then go towards the fire.
I smile back, chuckle as well.
It's not long before you are given a bowl of meatballs. And it smells divine. Some sort of thick brew is brought with it. He looks at you, winks, and he calls it the liquid ghosts. Don't be drinking too much of it. It's thick. Put you in the grave. Yes, it will.
Thank you much. And I, do a little nod and take a swig.
It's nice. It's nice. It's
Is it thick? Does it rise used to something almost like a paste, like a milky sort of like poor man sort of beer.
This is not
That protein beer,
this is not what I would say is super thick. This is a bit more of like a piney, like greenish tint IPA of sorts. There is some bitterness to it, but it's definitely nice. It's something that probably would go for quite a bit more than what he's charging you.
Gotcha. I purse my lips and smack him a little bit. It's tart, but I look like I can handle it. So,
Do you say it's tart?
yeah, I do actually say out loud. I go, "It's tart."
How do you think I got these facial lines? You think I just smile all the time? Nope. The liquid ghosts will get you every time. I've died
Yeah, it's
4
starting to
times
burn.
today.
I'm like I'm trying to keep my cool because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of my new dwarf friend and everybody around. But it definitely burns like hell going down. I'm my character is he's trying to keep his face together, But yeah, you can tell I'm wincing a bit.
Sure. Temerity, Eli, and Oz. Did you want to find your way to the Lorimore residence, or did you want to make your way over to the Laughing Demon, where the others have gone, at least temporarily?
I think Oz has been asking if they would go with him to where they need to go. That was like,
Yeah, if Oz is asking, like, basically, can you take me to the house? I'm gonna reluctantly not have a beer, but help the crying goblin.
well, he asked a couple
Right.
times, but then no answer has been given to him. He's just been
Sure.
bombarded with questions about eating children.
Yeah.
It's an important question.
Yeah.
So I'll probably wait until you ask again, like, because if you don't, I'm still just fascinated by this conversation.
Sure.
I think Oz offers his hand. There might be some wet feathers in his hand, and he's like, "My name's Oz, and what's yours?"
To me,
To whoever's.
Okay.
I mean, I think he was
Actually,
talking to
yeah.
Eli.
I will look at the hand not so happily, and I will extend my hammer to allow the hammer to be shook instead of my own hand. And I'll be
are you
like,
carrying anything else in your other hand by chance?
no, just the backpack on my back with a shield across that, my steel shield. And I have a dagger as well on my side, but
Okay.
yeah.
He grabs your hammer and shakes it. And he's like, "Well, not the first time I've had that happen to me."
Beautiful.
You? And he looks at Temerity.
oh, Temerity, it's nice to meet you. And I'll offer my actual hand.
He shakes
Oz-
your hand.
Oz,
Blue
you-
on blue.
You've encountered
Right.
many of the more odd things in the world. You've met scholars, and you've come across a few bizarre situations. I don't think it is uncommon, particularly for you, to understand and at least know whom and what a tiefling might be. There's a very good chance, especially since everyone doubted that hobgoblins could even wildly possess magic that wasn't divine. Goblins, goblinoids, the shamans of some of the lowland tribes are oftentimes seen as calling to goblin gods to get their magic from them, but not many before have you seen predecessors that so abjectly wield the arcane magics as yourself. That's probably
Yeah,
why you
and-
were sought after.
In my tribe, or like where I come from, they like really looked down on you if you were into magic. They wanted you to become a warrior. Like at 3 weeks old, you were like put into the mill of being part of the militia.
Yes.
He shakes Temerity's hand and he's like, "Well, I like your cloak here thing. That whatever that thing is, it looks mighty nice."
I'll just kind of smooth my hand down it. Thank you. I appreciate it. And so did you need to go to the house? Because I'm happy to bring you.
I did. I was impaired.
Oh, geez. Okay, so let's go. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
That's where I'm headed as well if you require more assistance. Eli would say to them while also having kind of like a side mission of keeping an eye over this hobgoblin now and make sure there's no trouble.
You mentioned some children. Did Professor L get into something bad with some children?
I don't think any of us know. For sure. But I would say they're grown. They can join us if they wish. But I think that the time is growing long and we should probably go see.
Are
We
there
can find
people
the
over
answer.
there that you're
There-
talking about? Oz looks over there where she's pointing, but there's
Oh,
no
it's
one.
sort of the tavern. Like I'm motioning tavern wise, like wherever they disappeared to, or at least wherever. I don't even know that they went to a tavern. I don't know for sure, but wherever they went, I'm kind of motioning. They're grown, but there may be other people at the professor's house waiting for us. We were invited this evening, and the sun is long since gone down.
Well, I wouldn't mind meeting more of Professor Lyle's friends.
Oh, geez. Okay, let's go. I think we can make our way.
Okay. Now, to pull away slightly, this is my call out here, my announcement of sorts, particularly to the viewers, the viewing audience. Some people have asked, as I like to handle things a little differently around here, you, as the viewing audience, have some participation in these games. There are things that you can do, and this is going to be my spiel about that. No, you can't come in and roll the dice, particularly for the players. No, you likely cannot make encounters for the players. This is going to be a bit more of a simple experience, but there are things that you can do. I'm going to talk about those. First and foremost, luck rerolls. Luck rerolls exist in the games that I run on this channel. Maybe not everywhere else, but they exist on this channel. These are granted to the players based on gifted subs or new subs to stream. I take a running tally at the start of the game, and anytime that we meet a milestone, the players will get a luck reroll. For the sake of this game, 10 subs will get 1 luck reroll for everyone at the table, myself included. The players will, at any time, be able to reroll anything that they would like at the table. They cannot give them to any other player, however. I, with my luck rerolls, can use them for myself or to force the players to reroll at my behest. That's luck rerolls. This is sort of what they look like. And courtesy of some very, very generous people very early on, all of the luck rerolls were met. So you have them all. Everybody has 5, myself included.
Yay.
Other things that you can do. Patrons and Patreon supporters. Aside from the slew of unique rewards, you can actively alter the space in the canon of this tale. You can inflict wild magic once per month upon a player in any game that I storytell on this channel. Additionally, at the right tier, you can create NPCs to fill the town roles for minor cases, or, dependent upon the situation, they can end up being major pieces for character development and allied aid. That's right, you can make NPCs for the game. That can be a thing. They're 5th level NPCs. And last, the Harrow deck. The Harrow deck is something that I'm introducing specifically to this game, as it has been offered alongside this entire adventure path. However, I'm not playing a tarot reader. I have repurposed the deck itself. It is designed to function like a deck of tarot cards, but for the purposes of this particular game, I've redesigned it to function as sort of a world buff / debuff or event maker. Each card may have varied and multiple meanings, and their impact will be different per the session, card drawn, and the story thus far. You want to play a part in it? Pop by just before this stream. We do a pre-show. Help us meet the goal to determine whether the card is aligned in the player's favor or misaligned to go against them and alter the state of the game forever. Yeah. So lots of things that you guys can actually do. And now that you know, just show up. You get to play God. There are other things that we will be reworking and reintroducing later. But for now, that's what you can do.
Not my god.
Yeah, well, you can't deny all the gods. Even if you don't want to believe in them, they still believe in you.
I can and I will.
They-
I can and I will.
All right, so there you guys go, right there. You can go out of your way to make sure that everyone gets luck rerolls except Rye. Excuse me, Malcolm.
I was talking mostly in-game gods, but I
Oh, it's too late now.
Yeah, I didn't mean I wasn't speaking directly to Chad on that one. But
Listen,
thanks.
man, you
Thanks, bub.
you made your bed when you started trying to choke out the dog.
Dogs are good eating.
Oh no!
Oh, wow. I mean, he's not wrong.
You could have rolled up on a
You stay
spit
away from a
roast.
pecker.
Hey, that's food in a bowl to me. I
An
don't know any
80-pound
different.
chicken is good eating too.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Oh
No
yeah.
one told me that chicken's not like portable lunch. It's like a lunch pail.
Yeah.
Let's
This
do
is
it.
fine. So,
Yeah.
back into our experience. We turn yet again briefly to the Laughing Demon. Zokar allows you guys to enjoy your food, but after a short time, he seems to be waiting. Tepidly, he taps his foot, and he seems to be whispering to his son.
I see this, like I'm picking up on this. Or do you want me to roll perception?
It's not something he's hiding. He's trying to be kind, but it's
Yeah.
not something he's hiding.
I look over at Torvin and I finish my drink and I, say, I think it's about that time. Might as well get this over with. And I stand up.
He overhears that. Even if you try to mutter it, you realize that you're pretty much the only patrons at this point. My apologies, sirs. I didn't expect to have any patrons at this point. It is rather late.
I cut
in
him
the
off.
evening.
I cut him off right there. Like when he's starting to kind of grovel and I just go, stop. Nobody likes a weak man.
It's not that I have a funeral to go to, and I make sure that everyone has a full belly, no matter the situation.
Oh, at that, I kind of recall. Oh, well, we're probably going in the same direction.
You're here to see Petros, then?
I nod.
Aye. Well, we'll finish up. Already, my son. We're on our way to the Lorimore residence. Do you know your way there? If not, we can show you.
I shake my head. Nah, new to town.
Right. Well, give it back. It'll be a moment still.
I look over at Torvin, shrug.
Yeah, I nod and start packing myself and my things together.
And with
All
that,
right.
you notice that he seems to cusp all of the firelight. It looks like they're putting out all the flame. They're drawing back shutters. Anything that kind of makes this place vulnerable. And they shut it behind you, and they start leading you down the street. Zokar, the way that he is, he asks, "So how much you know, Petros? I mean, he was a worldly man, but he never said that he met anyone so scarred."
I saved his life once.
Oh. Or
Yeah,
you're a hero then.
sometimes.
Wait, does that mean you're one of them foolish types that goes out looking for trouble for coin? Adventurers? Are you a sellsword?
When the time calls, yeah,
And when the coin's right?
you got it.
Adventurers? He looks down to his son, and he's not very quiet about it. Says, things you don't want to become. If you're smart,
Your old man,
you'll wind up just like your dad.
your old man's right. You should listen to him. Enjoy your life here.
All right. Just nods.
Torvin pulling back on his pipe. They will have long arrived to the Lorimore residence. So I will have you entering just shortly after.
Sure.
Pulling back, you arrive at the Lorimore residence, and it takes a moment still before finally you are met with someone opening the door. A woman. The light creates the silhouette in front of you before finally she turns to the side, and you can see what she looks as such. Kendra Lorimore. Her eyes are red and puffy, and she dresses in dark and conservative clothing. Her hair pulled up tightly in a bun atop her head. No hair seems to fall down her cheek. She's very trim, very properly dressed, almost like a doll. It's a little eerie at first, but she greets you, and when she sees the three of you, in this oddest amalgamation of group, you notice that there's a mixture of curiosity, sadness, and relief. Please, come in. She encouraged you to come inside.
Do any of us know this person?
No.
Okay. As will come out and he introduces himself too. He'll be like, "Well, thank you. I will come down right now. Just give me a moment. I gotta get all my things." He's like, it's just clanking around a ton, and then he like offers his hand and is like, "I'm Oz. What's your name?"
Kendra Lorimore. Petros was my father.
Oh, he get a daughter.
Her lips kind of like furl up as she's trying to muster back some tears as well, and she gives you that solemn nod.
Can I give you a hug?
She's a little taken aback, but she shakes slowly, like kind of glancing to the others, like, is this okay?
He gives her a hug, and he's just like, "Your father meant a lot to me. I looked up to him. He was like the most inspirational person that I ever met in my life. No, everyone else judged me, but he didn't." And then he like lets go of the embrace, and he gives a good bear hug, like like one of those hugs where you're like, "That's a good hug."
Yeah. And at first she's a little confused. You can feel like her arms haven't quite fallen, but very slowly they kind of rest on your back, and there's the gentle pats. It's like it's fine. Not sure why she is comforting you as it's her father, but she pats you several times before waiting, like waiting for you to have your fill. What do you do with Peck at this point?
I have him like on a I have like a thing on my belt buckle that like has just a bucket, and the bucket just smacks my leg every once in a while.
Okay. She probably glances down. An 80-pound chicken is nothing to ignore. So despite part of the Blue Man crew featuring Eli on base arriving at the door, the 80-pound chicken certainly confuses her more than anything else.
Is she just looking at the chicken weird or something?
Is this your... You have an interesting entourage.
Oh, this is just my pecker. And he like scoops it out of the bucket and just like holding this giant chicken.
No, but please, for the sake of what few guests are here, keep Pecker in the bucket.
Well, you sure you don't want to pet him? He's mighty nice.
Maybe.
Pecker like leans in.
Please. And she kind of like waves, like trying to wave you on. Please, at least after father has been buried.
Puts the pecker back in the bucket.
Eli will interject and say, "Enough with your cock. I wasn't aware that Eli had a daughter, or I'm sorry, that the professor had a daughter. It's a pleasure to meet you, and my condolences."
The pleasure, I would say, is mine.
Then Eli will kind of study her for a moment, and
How?
he'll just look her from top to bottom, kind of trying to see if there's a resemblance to the professor, if he can kind of see that lineage.
You can see it in the brow, like pretty much across the top, bridge of the nose, and the eyes. Definitely has some striking resemblance to her father, but Petros wasn't very feminine by design, so you can see that they have some very obvious differences, probably taking more after her mom.
Eli will be thinking if now is the right time to be probing her for information surrounding her father's death, and he'll decide that instead he should probably side that for now, and pay his honor to the professor, and he'll ask, so where should we be then? Where do you want us for the services so that we can pay honor to the professor?
Please, into the parlor. She guides you into a room that is sized to easily fit 30 people. There is a coffin, very, very ornate, beautiful by design, certainly not one that the deceased would get to enjoy. But you notice the parlor is rather vacant. Where it could fit 30, there's not many here. You glance around and there's a woman. There seems to be another man. Two men. Now with the three of you, it makes 6. 7 with Kendra. She pulls away, separating from each of you. Before you are able to shut the door behind you, you overhear a man stepping forward. He's talking very jovially, very loudly. And behind him, you can see Torvin and Malcolm. Do you slam the door in their face? Do you invite them in?
I'll move to take a seat off to the side.
Okay.
And just prepare for the ceremony or the arrangements.
Zokar steps up first to the door, and he looks back to each of you. This is the Lorimore residence. Petrus was good people. Not many good people, but he was a good one. He helped me found my bar. It's hard to lose a friend. And he pulls off his hat, and his son, mimicking what he does, pulls off his hat as well. And they let you in first.
I actually gesture them No, please. After you and your boy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. He steps in, and Kendra sees him immediately. And her, like, you if you've been to a funeral, you know the look. Where you glance at someone, you catch their vision briefly, and the brow pulls tightly down. There's a slight head tilt where it's like, I know. We know why we're here. And they go in for a hug. There's an uncomfortable back pat, and there is brief discussion shared between them. And she leans down, and she hugs the boy as well. You overhear her say, Pevrin, you're getting so big. And he says, I'm not a boy anymore. I'm gonna be a man soon. That's what Dad says. Well, she smiles, and she kind of like wipes her eye, stands back up, looks to the two of you. I'm assuming that you are more of my father's friends.
I step up, and I reach my hand out, pull my hood back, just like I did with Temerity. Just kind of show them my face just right here, and I put my hand out. I say, yeah, I knew your father. When I speak, by the way, when you guys are hearing me, my voice isn't just raspy. It sounds like scratchy.
It's unnaturally gravelly.
Yes. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. So I go to shake her hand.
And without even a second glance, she steps forward, and she shakes your hand. You are by far not the strangest looking individual here this evening.
Yeah, that kind of takes me aback. I'm not the one people are looking at right now, which is kind of weird. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. There's not exactly heaps of finger foods and people telling good jokes. The parlor is rather quiet. You do see that there are a few other individuals there now. Zokar and his son, Pevrin. Zokar is the owner of the Laughing Demon. A woman, probably in her late 30s, early 40s. She's blonde. Her hair is stringy and damp still. It appears that she had tried to apply some form of what you would think is makeup, but it's running down her face. Perception checks, please, from everyone.
Sure.
Okay, let's see here.
Ooh.
10, 13, 7, 14, 15. Rye. Even or odd for Temerity. That's a 50-50 shot, so even or odd in your favor. Remember, you guys, you do have luck rerolls. If you were unhappy with what you had, you can always reroll it.
Nah,
You're muted, Imperial.
I'm distracted.
I'm gonna re-roll it because why not?
Sure, go for it. That's
Wow.
significantly
I see
better.
everything.
Yeah, you do, in fact. You're the first person to note this. The blonde woman, aside from Kendra, is the only woman in the parlor. And despite her makeup seemingly running to her face, she's dressed more akin to a working man. And interestingly enough, she has something that is pulled very tightly around her waist, what you might think could be equivalent to an apron. But you notice these small sprigs and various leaves that seem to be hanging from the front of it. Her fingers are dyed in unnatural color at the fingertips going up the length of the fingers themselves. And she seems to be rather bedraggled. A working woman of some sort. Your best guess is that she knows her way around like a root kitchen, could be an apothecary, but you're not entirely sure. The other two men, quite a bit more appealing in the sense that they're well put together. One of which seems to be an older man sitting very, very stoically. His back is very tight, almost militaristically, and the other sitting in a bit more of a relaxed position, quiet but still relaxed. They don't ever seem to break stride in the vision with a coffin.
I'm going to take my hat off because I haven't yet and hold it in my hand in a traditionally polite manner.
Sure.
And approach one of the guys. What are the differences between them again?
One seems to be So the first man, the very militaristic individual, sitting very straight backed, probably late 40s, early 50s, human. His hair is damp, but it seems to have been combed. He's wearing a very tight, almost like purple vest, a black overcoat, and he's silent, but his mustache seems to be very thin over his face. He's a little heavier set. Definitely retired if he was military. The other man, a bit more of a slouch in his spine, and it's easy to look like a slouch when compared to this first individual. Where he sits, you can tell his legs are a bit further apart than others. He doesn't really look that much younger, but compared to his compatriot, he looks significantly young, at least in the way that he carries himself. The man sees your eyes, and he kind of nudges the older man next to him. They glance on for a while before the sloucher stands to introduce himself. He moves in your direction. When he
I'll stand. Oh,
go for it.
No, I was just gonna say I would wait for him to approach. I wouldn't close the distance.
Sure. He introduces himself. He says, "Ma'am, I'm Garen Mirakar. And you?"
I pause for a moment, trying to see if I know the name. Temerity. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Do you have knowledge local?
I do. Well, I mean, I can roll it, but I don't have it checked.
Sure, go for it. Give it a shot. Not with that, you don't.
Nope.
Do you? Let me see. I'm going to take a glance at your character sheet right quick. See what else Temerity might have.
You know crap about local.
I don't.
I'm
not from around here.
Okay, yeah, you're not really going to have a lot on this guy. He introduces himself. You were probably given some sort of like a information regarding some of the higher ups in the town, those that are sort of running the event. And he introduces himself a second time. Says, "Excuse me, ma'am. My name is Garen Mirakar. I'm a councilman of the town. And my friend, the stiffer-backed individual, that is Vashian Hearthmount. We're here to pay our respects to Petros. Brought a lot of good to this town."
How big is his buddy? What'd you say?
Vashian.
Vashian?
Yeah, Vashian.
Vashian. How big is he?
Vashian's probably 6 foot even, but in his age and in retirement, he's, I'm gonna guess, about 280, 290 pounds. Not muscle. You can see that he's got like a broader neck, courtesy of years of service, if that's the case, if that's your first glance. But most of it nestles in the gut region. He's very heavy jowled. In fact, I think I have a picture of this.
Who's the biggest person in the room? Like when I look around the room and I'm trying to see.
You're trying to size people up?
I'm trying to size people up. Who looks threatening? Who's tall and big? Who's a big boy?
Eli's been pretty apprehensive up to this point. He's not quick to draw a weapon, but he's never been far from drawing his mace if need be. Interestingly enough, he seems very out of place. His hands have seen wear. So much wear. A working man. Interesting that he's chosen this life as he emblazons the emblem of Torhog. A paladin, the calling, but to a working man. Maybe this is something that he does in his part-time. Torvin is no stranger as well. The way that he moves, there is a deft stride in his step. Temerity is nothing to balk at. There is grace in the way that she moves, a way that is unnatural, something that you would expect more from an avian predator. And though Oz, while seeming slightly bumbling, Oz is incredibly thick. You don't really know, though. You don't see any weapons. What would Petros have to do with a hobgoblin? You're not sure. But this is definitely the smartest hobgoblin that you've ever met. Even if befuddling, probably a little goofy, and very emotional. Very emotional.
Yeah, I still don't know what the fuck that creature is. I'm cool with it because everyone else seems to be cool with it.
Sure.
But like, I legitimately have no fucking idea what I'm looking at when I see Oz. Now, okay, as far as Eli, because I'm focusing a little bit more on Eli's character now. I kind of brushed him off at the beginning. I don't like some of the symbols I see around him.
Sure.
How big is he? Is he tall? Is he a big guy? Is his
Just
presence
under 6 feet.
just
under
under
6 feet.
6 feet? Okay.
His arms,
All right.
his arms seem to be incredibly like they seem like Lego pieces, right? He's got like Popeye arms, man. These are blacksmith's arms. Strong shoulders,
Yeah.
strong arms. He is no stranger to throwing around weight.
It's interesting that you mentioned his hands because that's probably where I would have looked first.
Sure.
So,
As a brawler, yeah, you want to see the sort of metal that they've been a part of.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that most other religious people I run into are either dainty or very clean. You
Mhm.
know, they don't get their hands dirty too much. So it is interesting to me that
Eli has a cloth right now, and he's wiping all of the water from the metal parts of his armor, making sure it doesn't rust
Sure.
while he waits.
Oh my
Moment.
God, that's so sexy. Keep going. you're all like you're like I'm staring at you, and you're just like damping yourself, like
That's right.
you know, very daintily.
Polishing my hammer.
Councilman Vashian Hearthmount before you.
Oh my god, I love him. He's snooty looking.
He's very, very snooty looking. He's to the point. You can see in the way that his eyes sort of dip. Never quite leaves the coffin, but the way that he seems to occasionally glance over at you. Similarly, he's sizing up the room.
Man, fuck this boss nass.
Here is Kendra Lorimore. This is Petra's daughter, probably in her mid-20s. If she's above that, we're talking like 30 at max. She's very well educated. She speaks very clearly, succinctly. She never quite misses a beat. But another figure enters the room. You hear the door open as everyone is beginning to gather. A late figure arrives. He moves over graciously to Kendra, as gracious as a man in his age can. She says, "Father, you've arrived." Says, "My dear, yes, sorry. Something's come up. I wish I could have been here sooner." She glances around, obviously to the five of you that have never seen this person before. "Father, we have some guests." He turns, seeing each of you. One eye is almost completely closed, but the other seems to be peering at each of you, sizing you up similarly, but he quickly moves forward, a man of the cloth. "Hello, everyone. I am Father Grimborough. I am from the temple, and I will be seeing to Petros's burial."
My name's
Nice.
Oz. It's nice to meet you, sir.
He glances at you, and when you say that, there is a smile that sort of like reeks over his face, and you notice he doesn't have a full mouth of teeth. He's far past venerable. This man is 1 foot in the grave.
I wish it wasn't under such sad circumstances.
He grabs at your hand, and within like inside of your hand, and he puts the other on top, and he shakes this. "All will be well. Pharasma takes care of hers."
Nods. He kind of looks a little confused at the same time, but just like lets it go.
Sure.
Oh, is he a priest of Pharasma?
Yes.
Okay.
Has everyone been to pay their respects? Kendra, he sees like he's kind of pointing over in the direction, very shakily over to the coffin. No, Father, no. Forgive me. I was waiting for everyone to arrive, and well, you're here now. I suppose we can. Very well, very well. I will gather some of the clergy, and we'll meet you in the restlands. Yes, Father. She kind of glances around for a moment. "Father, where are the pallbearers?" "Yes, dear, forgive me. That was the issue. The extra aid that I enlisted in moving your father to the restlands, well, they've turned up ill. I'm sorry. May you see it in you to elect some of your newfound, or Petros's newfound friends.
I would step forward immediately.
So would Eli and offer assistance as well.
Yeah, Oz was
I
actually
also
just
offer
interrupting to do
Eli's
so.
assistance.
He's like, I'm not the strongest, but I'll carry it.
I don't make a move.
It gives me
So
hope.
it's basically 4 people and then you.
Yeah, I'm just watching.
I love it. Okay, good.
It gives me hope that the youth today are willing to offer their aid. I do not know how each of you are close to Petros, but he would be very happy to see you here. Thank you.
Oh, that's too kind of you. And he just cries again.
There, child. It will be fine.
Yeah, man. All I see is like a dwarf, all these different characters, a hobgoblin, and that like the coffin meme, like the dun 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 dun, dun and you guys are all just walking out.
Yeah, we're like dancing with the.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Quite a strange crew, but yeah, okay.
Perfect. Okay. Before we move into the next scene, I want to give everybody a moment here. We're going to take like a 2 to 3 minute break, just a quick bio and refill on our drinks, and we'll be back to round out the rest of our night. So we'll be back in just a moment, guys. See you soon. Yeah, soon. All right. We are back, guys. Sorry about that break, but, well, I mean, when nature calls, right? So, without further ado, we will continue. And, let's see, we had completely blanked my mind. The
Pallbearers.
The pallbearers, correct. So, who elected to do that again?
Wyld, Cobalt, Imperial, Maggie.
I just noticed that cameras are in the wrong position.
I might have dropped because my internet dropped.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know though, but that's what my fiance yelled at me.
I am now Temerity.
Yay, I'm a hobgoblin.
Oh, God.
I'm graceful.
Now, yay!
Luckily, Zoom lets you move everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I don't really get to do this that
We have
often.
to roleplay this.
Torvin and Eli are
Sorry.
good. You're fine. You're
I'm
totally fine.
Temerity. It's good to meet you.
My professor is dead. And I have an awesome pecker.
Look at perfect. All I had to do was move one, and we were all good again. So
I eat dogs.
perfect.
Yes, yes, he does.
Now I know that if we ever do like a Freaky Friday event, you guys will just nail it. Okay. So our elected pallbearers, we have Eli. Eli elected twice, courtesy of Torvin. Temerity. Oz. Was Torvin actually going to step up to it, or is okay? Torvin's not going to. Gotcha.
Oh,
All
I'm gonna drop this thing. It's gonna be a hot mess. Ready?
Oh God.
Are we gonna have to roll to like carry this thing?
I mean, potentially. It just depends who else I have for aid here.
I could just
Wait,
carry
so
the
how many
whole
are
front
carrying it
half.
right now? 3 or 4?
3
We need 4.
currently, and
3.
you need 6.
Oh, we need
Oh.
6.
Anyone?
Am I seeing them like start to try to pick this thing up and like struggle and like maybe they're like looking around awkwardly for people?
Well, yeah, you
Do
will.
I feel like I'm being targeted? You know, because I am.
No,
I
no,
am
no.
200.
It's not a matter of you feeling targeted per se, but you can tell that they are not going to be able to do this without your aid. As strong as Eli and Temerity actually are, it's just too high up for Torvin. Oz is on the struggle. Something
That's
fierce.
worthless right there.
Oz
That's-
is 5'2" as well.
I am totally looking
It's
at
gonna be
Rye,
like-
going
You're looking at me.
in that deadpan dwarf, just
Yeah, he's looking at you and like, being like, hey.
You know, my respect for dwarves is overpowering. And I stand up, and I am very reluctant though. I look at him and I sort of nod, you know, and I walk over, but I don't look happy about it.
Well, you're at a funeral. You shouldn't look super thrilled.
I don't know. Rye can give off weird vibes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's any stranger than Hobgoblin and their 80-pound pecker.
But like, if I walk over, I'm ready to do this thing. So I
Yeah.
grab the side of it, and I mean,
Do you take lead?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I take lead because I don't want to do this. So
Gotcha.
I'm doing it as fast as I can. So
Okay.
I'm grabbing that thing, and
All right.
I'm looking at everybody like, all right, let's go.
Has everyone, I'll look at, her name's not Karen. I'll look at,
Kendra.
shit,
Kendra.
Kendra.
Yes.
Has everyone paid their respects before we
No. No, not yet.
So I'm like walking up, and I'm
Yeah.
like got this thing, and everyone's like hasn't paid their respect.
Yeah, you guys
yet.
you're just electing, you're currently electing pallbearers, but Rye's like, fuck, okay, and moves up and he's like trying to get it on
Yeah,
his
I'm like
own.
trying to grab this thing. Is anyone stopping me?
I'm just
Kendra would. She would come over. We still have to pay respects first.
Does she touch me when she says that?
She's not quick to, but if you're still gonna go over, like, you would feel like the touch on probably your forearm, maybe your elbow,
Yeah.
like trying to croon it almost. And she's expressing, the guests haven't paid their respects yet.
Okay, so as I'm jostling with this thing and trying to get it up, I feel this. I'm very focused on that. I feel this touch, and as soon as I do, I look over it with. I don't even know who's touching me. I just say, you know, how about you don't fucking touch me? Is what I say, and I look at her, and I realize it's Kendra now, and I kind of, sort of soften a little bit, but I'm still in it. I still don't want to be fucking touched. So, you know. But like as I do that and I see her face and I'm starting to look around, like, oh, I'm like out of control right now. Like I need to chill. So I just kind of step back and just kind of look at everybody and just kind of nod.
I think
and
Oz
wait.
steps up when you're like feeling uncomfortable. Oz knows how that feels, and kind of steps in and is like, "I don't think you meant any harm, right? I didn't get your name."
I look down at you, or not down. Well, I guess down, and
I'm
I see
5'2".
you, and this is an unlikely ally, but like I feel like maybe anything to pull me out of this situation, and I just say, "Name's Malcolm." And
Well, Malcolm here, I think was just trying to help. I don't think you meant any harm.
Kendra pauses for a moment. She was turning to walk away, but when you said that, she turns back. I didn't invite a Malcolm to the funeral.
Now Oz looks at Malcolm and is like, well, maybe there's a different story here then.
well, that's my name. And I kind of look like around, and I'm looking at her. I'm clearly confused.
Okay.
Oz is also
give me a
looking
bluff.
around and clearly confused.
Give me a bluff. You're trying to perform here, sir. I'd like to see.
I
Do I
am.
get an insight check too?
Yeah, you will.
All right. I'm supposed to be good at this stuff.
Rise, that's not bad. Yeah, give me a sense motive.
Sense motive.
You know what? I'm going to give her a sense motive here to see what you're capable of.
22.
You perceptive fat little.
Oh, rolled off of a 20. Okay.
My thing is charisma. Like I'm a.
She's confused for a moment. I didn't invite a Malcolm, but Oz, you can smell a lie. You know that's a lie. The way that he said that, he quickly backpedaled. But as quick as it was that he seemed to kind of muddle up there, he immediately went right back into the cell. You're at least convinced that Malcolm is not his name.
Okay. Well, he looks like you could probably eat me, so I'm just gonna stand there awkwardly for a little bit to see what happens.
And I step up and I go, do you have a ledger of some kind?
I am the ledger. So if you would be so kind as to give me your last name, so that I can confirm whom you say you are.
I really appreciate your kindness. I really do. But can I see the ledger?
No, you can't. You're in my home. And you may be tough as nails. But I can put you down.
All right. Well, let's not be.
At this, I bristle up a little bit and I stand up and I'm like, I kind of start to flex. I'm like, oh, like I don't take kindly to shit like that.
Oz is
Sure.
like, Oz sees this escalating. Oz is like, all right. Well, we're here to pay respects too.
Sure.
Professor L, I don't think we should be causing any trouble. Look, sir, I know you might think you are who you are, but I think you know that you're not who you say you are.
I look around. I'm starting to see that, like, I don't want to like pummel this fucking woman, you know. I'm like,
Sure.
but I'm not. I just look over at her and I look over at everybody. I look back at her sort of slyly and I just say,
If you wish to not expose your name for reasons, then I can compose briefly a list, and you can point to whom you are. But if I even sense...
Or why don't you have him write it down and then you look and compare to see? That way, if he lies, he didn't just pick one of the names.
my God, I am looking at you right now. Like, really? You want to like, God damn it. Like, there's
Eli's
no
gonna
subtlety.
stand up and say that sounds like an excellent idea.
I'm gonna sidebar to Torvin and say, is this sort of complicated for a funeral, or is it just me?
I look around. I'm starting to see people whispering and like, you know, Eli standing up. I'm
There's
getting
only
pissed
like
off.
it's the group and 4 people. So if it's people whispering, they're probably whispering to your group.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm starting to see like the conversation, you know, and I look around. I just go, my name's Rye. It's Rye. Though I never told Petros that. Petros, excuse me. I want to call him Petey so bad. You have no idea.
Well, I think he's telling the truth this time, Kendra.
Is there a Rye on the list?
you out of game, so you never told Petros your real name.
No, I never. I never told him that. So my name being on this list is new to me.
What name did you give him, though?
Malcolm.
You gave him Malcolm? Okay.
It's always been Malcolm. So
Okay.
I'm surprised to find that he actually did know my real name and put it on the ledger.
Probably likely would have called you by like a surname. Do you have a surname? Because he was very formal. He was an incredibly formal individual.
No, I don't have a surname. I've never had a surname.
Okay. Then I'm not really sure exactly how he might have done it, but you were discovered. There might be some MacGuffinery going on, but you were discovered.
That's fine.
She pauses for a moment. She seems as if she's trying to assume your intentions. Let's just be quick. And she steps away. She places her back to what seems to be a load-bearing beam in the room, and she starts encouraging people to come pay their respects forward.
When she does that, I kind of lean over to Malcolm, Rye, and Oz is like, why were you lying to Kendra? She's just trying to, say goodbye to her father.
I just look down and I just lean in and kind of whisper, you're a curious and dangerous creature. And I lean back and I give you a wink.
I'm curious, but I wouldn't consider myself dangerous. Well, I have gotten myself into trouble, I suppose. But that was just with a ladder and a bucket.
At this, Rye sort of chuckles a little bit. Like, kind of caught him off guard. But he's quick to kind of remember his anger at the situation and try to kind of keep it composed. Just stay the fuck away from me, okay?
All right. Puts his hands up and backs away. Goes back to Temerity and is like, well, he's a bit of an aggressive one, isn't he?
We all have our quirks. Some more than others.
I
don't
wink
think
at
he likes
Temerity. I wink at Temerity and give a little smile.
I kind of feel like I get like his general, like I clearly are like I don't read him like a book, but I'm like, I kind of understand the archetype, or at least what I think is the archetype, and I'll return the wink and be like, don't worry, I don't, give him a little space. Just, give him a little.
I don't do
What?
well with space.
I know. Well,
Yeah, because you weigh 230 pounds.
let's okay, so I'm gonna let the space comment go by while I finally get a good hard look in the bucket since I'm super close.
Yeah.
So I get that, but can I ask an important question?
Well, of course, important questions are always, important.
What is in the bucket? And I put my finger close enough to the bucket so that if Pecker wanted to like reach out and grab me, he probably could. But I'm just like
Probably
what-
like would like get you to think you're gonna come pet him, and he like shuffles the bucket over, and now you can see my Pecker in all of its glory, and Oz looks happy for the first time for like a little bit, and is like, "This is Pecker."
You notice as Oz begins to move the pail to show you this very large bucket, the chicken's head never seemingly moves. It seems to just like hone in and focus on point. And while the body is shifting around, this nebulous blob of feathers and regret, the head never quite shifts whatsoever. And you get these
It has a giant tuft of hair,
Yeah.
and like it's her fur, and it's like eyes are like covered by it. It looks ridiculous.
it looks sort of like a pom-pom exploded out of the top of this very tiny head.
Is it what is it?
Oh,
It's
it's a cork.
Yeah, he knows what it is. I didn't quite catch your name.
I am Torvin.
Oh, Torvin. I offer my hand. I'm Oz, and this is Pecker.
A
Well,
little
I call
standoffish,
him a
but
chicken instead
Thanks,
because
Anne.
sometimes if I call him a cock, people, they say weird things about it.
I poke the cock. But not hard, like gently.
I called him a
like,
cock too, Torvin.
kind of like are you really alive in there? Like what, are you really a thing?
God, prom night all over again.
Right? I'm just reenacting real life events here. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I have no words.
we've won! Yay!
And game.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, amazing.
Councilman Hearthmount and Garen will make their way to the to the coffin. There is a momentary nod between them. And you can tell that it's not like a judgy thing, but it's like they're giving you the glance of time and a place. And it sort of comes back to you like, oh, this isn't the time or the place to be talking about this enormous chicken, but yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. If you pick up on that, it's entirely up to you. Either way, they're casting that sort of like pseudo-glancing judge your way.
I'm sure Oz picks up on it if it's like not a rolled thing because
Yeah.
he's very insightful. And he sees that people are uncomfortable about it, and he's like,
I should probably put Pecker away, though. I think this is maybe not the right place.
Did the professor know Pecker?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Then I think this is exactly the right place for Pecker.
should keep the cork out.
And I
mean-
give the chicken a little pat on its head, like,
Well, Kendra did say to keep it in the bucket, so I'll probably keep him there.
I think that's
Are
smart.
are you sure it could be our fifth pallbearer?
I mean, 80 pounds is not nothing.
Yeah.
You just strap it to its back and it'll pull it all
Yeah.
the way to the restlands.
Yeah, you sure you're not a druid?
Perfect. Eli, you've been
It's a
been there.
closed coffin, right?
it's not actually.
Mm.
It's not a closed coffin. Which is
I
something
will
that
go up to
you would
pay
notice.
respects.
And everybody else would notice this right away, especially if you have any understanding of affiliation to Pharasma. Sometimes the dead are interned with things that pay respects to the gods. At the time, they didn't really put a lot of coins on the eyes. It's not a ferryman sort of situation, but particularly for Pharasma, she has a thing for onion. Onions were buried with the dead. They were supposed to part ways into the boneyard and offer it as a gift so that they may enter the boneyard and live out their ghost-like lives in a phase of that wasn't quite a horrible afterlife. So there is I'm not going to say it's pungent, but the aroma of onion on the air is strong, especially the nearer you get to the box. Now, in some places, that is a gift in and of itself because it deters that strong scent of malodorous things. In this case, in turn, dead. So, onions. Who was first to pay their respects?
I definitely would go up.
Oz. You make your way to the coffin. It is designed beautifully so. It is lined in comfortable, appealing cloth. It's certainly more than most dead, which you would, I mean, in your militaristic way of growing up, this was never offered. Never would you see, not even like a high-ranking official would get something like this. So this is bizarre to you. Not only was this man respected, but they came for money. A fair amount of it. This would not have been cheap for the time. But the smell of onion is there, and you see him. Time did not go well for Petros. It had been some years, and you remained close, probably wrote back and forth, especially given topics that were concerning to both of you. But something really sort of stole away the remaining years. Or maybe it's just how death operates. Either way, he looks like a shell of a man you once knew. But you recognize the features. The jaws drawn taut, the hair that seems to be skirting around the edges of the top of his dome. He's still wearing a very similar style of dress. You didn't expect him to be buried in such, but without a doubt it is Petros.
Does anything seem off or indicate how he died?
Give me a perception check.
This music so tense.
It can be, yeah.
22.
Nice.
That's really good.
Wow.
So it takes a moment to see this. It's not often that the dead were made to look beautiful. That wasn't something that occurred in a time, particularly in this time, because financially it just wasn't sound. But he's been painted up. You can tell that he's certainly wearing some form of makeup to cover some things, but they didn't do a fantastic job. Again, not something they did often, so they had very little practice at this. What you can tell is that something struck him very, very hard. The jaw itself seems to be aligned correctly, but there is definitely an indentation around his right jaw. His fingers are, while they seem to be fine, he is missing a fingernail from his right hand. It's the ring finger of his right hand. The fingernail is missing. The other fingers happen to have a large amount of debris under it. But it's not like what you would expect from mud. This is... It depends. I can give you more, but you'll have to discover more. Did you want to try to retrieve any of this?
I'm not maybe the best at that, but you know what? Sure, we can try.
How would you like to try this? You just trying to just reach in and like sort of pull some away with your own nail? Are you using a tool? Are you trying to just like to disguise this and hide it? What are you trying to do here?
I think he's gonna try to hide it. He's probably gonna be very bad at it, but I think he's definitely like looking like he's sobbing for a little bit, and then he gets close to like kind of like whisper something to Professor Owl, and then notices notices the facial issues, and then looks down at the rest of the body and notices the fingernails and stuff. And as these things come aware, he kind of like looks around and then pulls something out of his pocket, and then is like trying to pretend like he's like leaving something and taking something, but it's probably not going to go great. So sleight of hand style.
Sure. Give me a sleight. Give me perception from everyone else that seems to be looking. If you're not, then don't roll.
5. It's a 5. I told you it wasn't going to go well. Oh.
Remember, you have luck rerolls.
Oh, I would like to luck reroll, but
yeah.
there's a potential that I could roll worse. We'll see. Okay, I have a 4 out of 5 now, right? Also, people were asking if Pecker gets their own rerolls as well.
Oh no.
Okay, 17.
That's a lot. That's a lot better. Yeah. Holy crap.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else would anybody here like a chance to reroll, or are you satisfied with what you have?
I'm definitely watching, but I'm not aware.
Okay, sure. You are somewhere else at this time, in your mind, or reloading the pipe in preparation for a sorrowful smoke. Whatever the case may be, you are elsewhere.
Oh, I rolled a 10. I'm just not seeing things.
Yep. You lean in and you draw some sort of instrument over particularly to his nail. And you sort of rake some of this borderline, like almost like a calculus buildup, right? It looks like it's some sort of stone. When it breaks away, it doesn't just kind of like putty up like a mud or a clay. It breaks away and starts to chip out like stone. And then you notice that the fingernail is missing. He was raking his hand against stone. And while they may have done some sort of makeup to his face, they didn't bother to clean his hands. You pull away the stone for now. Do you hide it in a pocket? Or do you just like chuck it in the bottom of the bucket?
Probably just put it in a bag, in a pouch or something like that.
Sure. You place it back in the bucket, and you've been rather emotional up to this point. Does this like shake you at all, or do you go right into like investigative mode?
I think now Oz is freaked the fudge out. Like he's like, now it's not his dear friend just, died. He thinks like this is now a murder. Like something awful happened here. And he's just not sure what to do. So he like turns around and just like looks at everybody, and he looks like really freaked out. And now he's like, everyone's a suspect to him.
Okay. All right.
And he's walking like really slowly away and just kind of observing everyone.
Sure. You pull away to your own spot, trying to thumb exactly who might have done something. Anybody at this point could be a suspect. Who's next?
I'll wander on up.
Torvin. It had been some time since you had seen the old man himself. And as explained, the age has certainly caught up to him. The years fleeted by, and humans do not age as beautifully and as well-rounded as a dwarf does. Hell, he was in his youth when you had met him. What would you like to do here?
I'm just taking a moment and remembering how that we found each other originally all those, well, years, decades ago. And smile just about the fact that he got to live further than what most would. He doesn't have a beard, does he?
No, he was definitely clean-shaven.
Oh, well, I just hold his chin a bit rather than grab his beard. It's his tradition because, well, he's not a dwarf, so
Interesting.
I wiggle his chin a bit, realize I look like an idiot, looking around at everybody, and then go and sit down.
Well, when you move your hand in, you grab onto his chin and sort of like pull where there might be a tuft, and you notice something odd. Had you not touched him, you wouldn't have. Something occurred to his jaw, at least to the lower jaw, because when you sort of grab onto his chin and start to give it a slight shake, it sort of breaks away. It's almost as if someone had built up like a plaster semblance around this part. Something had completely caved in his jaw. This wasn't a minor accident. This was a deliberate strike.
Dude, am I watching this? Can I roll to see if I see this dwarf pull
Sure.
half of this guy's face off?
Sure.
All right.
Give me a perception. Let's see what you get.
Sure. Oh, wow. Okay.
You got the
Wow.
lucky rolls. May as well use them, you know?
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead then and re-roll it.
Yeah.
I guess I have been looking at everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
Eli, Oz, yeah, I think even if you rolled above a 10, I think you can see this because this caught Torvin by total surprise. Wasn't trying to hide anything. You can tell he's a bit more of a sentimental type. But it stops him, dead in his tracks. He pauses, and he just takes in the situation. Torvin, do you glance back over your shoulder at all?
I do, indeed.
When you glance back, the others are sort of watching. A few of their brows begin to fall. Kendra looks a little confused. She starts to make her way to you. And when she sees the body, she kind of covers her mouth. Oh no.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. What a weird scene.
She wasn't expecting this, you can tell. This completely caught her off guard.
I walk over to her and just look solemnly for a bit and put my hand out.
I'm looking to see if anyone else looks surprised or if someone looks like unsurprised.
Eli has a
Rye
look
is
of
super
concern. Look of concern, maybe a little bit of anger flaring up, maybe waiting for his chance.
Yeah, you, Jaminda, the woman in the room, is sitting. She's not got up yet. Her eyes never quite leave the area of the coffin, but it's sort of like she's stuck in that 1,000-yard stare, right? And she's just kind of focusing, despite the gasps and the guffaws. There is no response from her. She's just kind of like in a slight rock. The councilmen, while watching, sort of like they begin to whisper between themselves, and they're watching, and then they start looking at each of you. Kendra immediately leaves the room. She steps away from you, Torvin. Father Grimborough is no longer there.
Rye is just watching this happen. I mean, this is the craziest shit like he's seen in a while. It's been pretty. I mean, he's been life on the road and stuff. It's interesting, but nothing like this. He's just kind of at this point. He's just sort of stepped back and he's just watching. And when he saw that jaw fall off, he was like, "Oh shit!" And he's just sort of watching everybody. He's just taking it all in. This is such a spectacle.
As
I
you
look towards the councilman.
do, you approach them?
Very much. Quickly.
You move over to them, and they're already muffling their words, but then they see you approach. And they wait for you to not necessarily accost them, but it seems like you have targeted words. So, what is it you'd like to say to the councilman?
Perhaps you could explain what actually happened here.
The older, heavier set men, we are not privy to what's happened. He was cared for at the Temple of Pharasma. The preparations were done by them. And it is not entirely what we were told. Perhaps it was, and he looks over to Garen, perhaps it was in an effort to save Kendra from pain.
I pipe up from the back, actually. We're hearing this?
They're not being quiet about it anymore. I mean, they're speculating more than anything else.
I kind of yell out from behind Torvin, and I just say, the man's got half a fucking face. Like I'm looking pretty serious now. I'm like, dang, man, like you might not be privy, but you should fucking know. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know.
And Vashian gives you that stare. He's like, I will request an audience with Father Grimborough immediately after burial. Regardless of situation, it is within the temple's rights to continue assuming the burial.
Oz stands up and is like,
Well, if you bury him, you're burying all the evidence.
and Oz will go over to the casket and be like,
Something clearly hit his face. Where was he at? How did this happen? And I see that he's missing a fingernail, and there's stuff under his nail. Some kind of stone. Where did you find this body?
Garen steps over and he says, please, your tone for Kendra's sake.
Aye, well, it's good that Kendra's left the room, so perhaps we can get back to the point as to how the man died.
You look about 30 or 40 feet away. She's standing at a fireplace.
Oh, I thought she left the room.
She did leave the room, but it's her house. So she's just like, it's across the hall.
Eli's gonna stand up and slowly walk to the coffin and take a candle out of his backpack, and he's going to, during all the commotion, he's gonna light the candle and just start getting his own respects paid.
Sure.
Before he goes and pursues any of the information.
Yeah.
And he's gonna do a quiet prayer to Torag, and hope that in Torag's might that he sees him peacefully into the afterlife, and takes care of his friend while that all's going on.
While he's doing that, and I see Kendra is back in the room, I get sort of an evil.
No,
grin on my face.
she's not she's literally like she crossed the hall into the next room over. But
okay.
They're like
Okay.
open parlor doors, so you can see her. She's just about 30 or 40 feet away.
So if I say very loudly that he's got half a face again, she wouldn't hear it?
If you say it loudly, yeah, she probably heard it the first time.
I'll say it a second time, real
Okay.
loud, a little bit louder, more emphasis. The same thing, basically.
Oz kind of like raises his hand and like does the thing, and he's like,
All right, well, I mean, we can talk quieter, but
and he kind of like looks at Rai, but then looks back at the councilman, and then is like,
but I do agree with I don't know, Torvin, is that what they said your name was? I do agree that we need to find out what happened for Kendra's sake.
Eli's gonna finish up and stand up and turn to the councilman after overhearing the conversation. He's gonna say, well, if we're here to spare Kendra's feelings, then perhaps we should continue our discussion outside.
Well, I've just been I've heard all of this.
Yeah.
Can I go over and take a look and see if there's anything I can tell being
Sure, of
someone
course.
as what would that be? Knowledge religion?
If you were
Something-
trying to glean more details about particularly Pharasma, or followers of Pharasma.
I'm trying to figure out why, like, what I might know about that facial reconstruction. like as a follower of Pharasma, like if I would know anything, or not just a follower, like someone who is actively a member
Okay.
of the right.
Sure. Go for it.
Would
Give
it
me
be religion or?
religion will work just fine. It definitely seems like it's out of practice, but who knows? You could roll really well, or poorly.
Reroll.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Not.
Hold on, that's 3. What time are we done tonight?
We're supposed to be done in like 20 minutes.
Okay. There we go.
That's significantly better. Temerity, you move up. You even probably go as far as like thumbing this addition, where you can see that there was definitely something that sort of like crushed his jaw, probably into not much. Yeah, this is something that they created. It looks as almost if it may have been carved from a vegetable that they had put some sort of like preservation upon. You even notice there is some like latent magic to it, divine magic. You can feel it. You know its sense. As an Inquisitor, you're not far flung from using some of these spells yourself. But your best guess is it's probably to preserve his image. In fact, as you notice, there are carvings, like divine carvings all around on the inside of this. Give me a spellcraft, even untrained. This is some low-level stuff.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
That's good. 19's really good. Yeah, this is a spell here that has been sort of like whittled particularly into the coffin to remain. It is a spell of gentle repose. It is to stop whatever living material and object within this space from deteriorating. You have no idea how long he's been dead, but it took time to get here. For some of you, a few days, some of you over a week. And you're all fairly familiar with what happens to the dead after just a couple of days.
Where's the father gone?
Father Grim, you say that out loud?
Mm-hmm.
Temerity, you know that in Pharasma's practices, the individual to preside over the funeral itself does not pallbearer for that institution or for that event. They meet you in the rest land, the cemetery.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. So he would be in the cemetery, and I'm still looking at the body. Close to us is those 2 men are still close to us, right?
The councilman, yes.
Yes. So without looking up, but very pointedly, how long ago did this man die?
Beatrice was discovered a week and probably 10 days ago. Yes, 10 days total.
Well, where?
We were told that he was... kind of lowers his voice. We were told that he was found at Harrowstone Prison. That there was some accident, that a structure had fallen, and he was crushed.
Well, hasn't that prison been closed for a long while? Or abandoned or something?
Yes, it has been for some time, but it remained a point of focus for some. We have to encourage our children to stay away. He kind of glances over to Garen. There are some that believe that it is haunted, and the children from time to time will go to the gates, dare each other to peer through, see who can stay in the courtyard the longest. But it's dangerous, it's dilapidated. It will likely fall.
Well, what was Professor L doing there?
That I cannot say I know or understand. It's
Well,
prohibited.
Who's the last person to see him before he went there?
Peverin was the one that discovered him. And when he says that, Zokar is like holding on to his son. And Peverin looks really scared. He's kind of like looking around the room almost as if you're kind of, when he says that name, that he's being named as the person that killed Petros.
Well, who's Peverin?
And he turns to Zokar and says, Zokar's oldest son, Peverin.
Well, probably need to have a chat with Pevrin then.
If it's of no further discourse, can we continue with the funeral? And
I understand. I just have two quick smaller questions, and they are quite important. Was he alone? Like, I understand that the professor went out to do a research, but he was always with the group. That's how I knew him. That's how I knew others that worked with him. He was there alone?
from what we were told, Pevrin said that he had discovered him and he called it a creature. But when the Temple of Pharasma arrived, they said that a stone gargoyle had fallen from the top of the structure, and, well, best guess is it crushed him.
Can I do a sense motive
On whom?
and see if they're lying on the councilman?
Yeah, of course you can.
I would like to do that.
I like it, Cobalt.
I'll re-roll that.
Go for it. Yeah. Ooh.
Nice, a crit.
better.
Very good,
24.
24. He seems earnest. He doesn't really have a lot of the details. It's pretty much just sort of parroting what he was told. They have a lot of faith in the church in this place. Particularly Pharasma yields some fairly loyal followers. Not to say there isn't corruption in church, but he seems as if he believes what was said. Now, he has not seen the damage that's been done. And this is sort of shocking to him. Are you suggesting that there was foul play?
Well, there might be.
What would lead you down this road?
Well, someone's face is messed up. Sometimes that's usually has to do with something hitting them.
Yeah, it would follow suit. Wouldn't you believe that if a structure fell, a gargoyle of sorts, it fell to him? He was a frail man. It could crush him easily enough.
Aye, you too. And I'm sure it's been investigated, and perhaps we could actually talk to that fellow as well.
Actually,
Because this is not just idle gossip, of course. We're talking about investigation by a mayor, at the very least, let alone a sheriff.
there was deemed no necessity to the sword. It seemed, for all intent and purposes, that it was an accident. We were too confused why he would leave during a storm of all times. A man of his age, wandering out few miles to an abandoned prison. What would cause this?
Well, why was Pevrin out in the storm? Or did Pevrin find him?
He found him the next morning. We have a totally unrelated issue there. Ravengro has a history of losing our pets.
Almost lost a dog just a couple hours ago.
Well, that's awful. I can't imagine living life without my pecker.
Pevrin has been very deft at finding some of these lost animals. We have woods surrounding our homes, and there are wolves in the sort. It's not unheard of to have a house cat or a dog become a meal for another creature that rests in the woods. But Pevrin has been quick to find them before much injury, and he said that he had found a few cats there.
All right, well, that's a little strange too, don't you think? Where are all the pets going?
It's not something we are very well aware of. If we knew, we would fix the problem. At least I would try. But most of our animals are outdoor.
Pevrin's in the room with his dad, right?
Yeah, and Pevrin is growing noticeably more shaken by the second. He's just kind of like withdrawing into himself. He honestly, from the looks of it, he feels like he's being named. Like, kind of give him that look of, you murdered Petros. You 13-year-old bastard. You murdered this 80-year-old man with a gargoyle.
Not a common occurrence, but
Right.
I think Oz notices and kind of goes over and sits down next to Pevrin and his father, and it's like,
I know this might be hard to talk about, but could you tell us what you saw?
He glances up to his dad, and Zokar gives him the nod. Go on then, boy. Tell him all. Tell him what you told us. He's apprehensive at first. I went looking for Miss Nettie's cat, and it's where I'd seen some cats before. And when I got there, I thought were clothes. But I'd hopped the fence, there's vine trellis. And when I got over the wall, I noticed that it just wasn't clothes. It looked like a rock, but it kind of was shaped like a monster. They said it was a gargoyle, but I don't think I've ever looked to the top of the prison before. I don't know what a gargoyle looks like. But I don't know. I was curious to see if I knew whom it was. If it's from a town, then I know whose it was. And when I saw him, I knew it was Mr. Lorimore. He was just lying there. His face was a mess.
Oh, that must have been real hard to see. I'm sorry.
So, after Oz says that, when he's done, can I cast Stern Gaze to to increase my sense motive and do a sense motive on him?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, cast sense motive so I can, or not sense motive, but Stern Gaze so I can read it again.
Oh, okay. It is, yeah. Let me. Whoop.
You can still hold that sense motive. That's fine. Skill sensing deception and intimidating their foes. Inquisitor receives a morale bonus on intimidation. So,
and sense motive checks. That's what
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's deathly earnest. Like that. This is honesty, like straight from the tap.
Okay. I'll just look at them. Anyone who's around, he's telling the truth.
Well, I would expect him to. Sorry you had to see that.
Bryce's getting a little impatient.
Yeah.
Getting a little impatient.
Pevrin looks up.
He was already wanting to get out of here, but now everybody's like, yeah.
Pevrin looks up to Zokar and he's like, Dad, I want to leave. And Zokar says, Fine, go back home, boy. See to your mother. I'm going to help them move a casket. He nods and he stands, kind of bows to everyone briefly, and he just says, I'm sorry. And then he runs. He runs out.
So he's not helping with the casket?
Nope.
Okay, well, all right.
His father is, though.
Perhaps we should
Oh, the
direct our
boy,
questions.
not the father. I thought the father.
Zokar is gonna help with the casket, so
Okay.
that gives you another body.
Okay.
Zokar stands. Well, if that wasn't uncomfortable, I don't know what was. And while this is news to me, we should still honor those living in her house. Let's move the body. Petros. Let's move Petros. Get him to the wrestlands.
I'll move to take a corner, and on my way past Zokar, so you have a very good boy, and just leave it at that and go take my spot.
He just gives you like that curt nod and go ahead.
Oz will go reassure Kendra and let her know that we're gonna move the casket.
Okay.
We don't have to RP it, but just
No. There's
we do that before we move the casket.
I mutter under my breath something about it's about time, and grab the casket or the coffin.
I'm curious, for those of you that are non-believers, you can see the magic, or at least the runes. They've been pointed out multiple times that this is divine magic at work. And while you may not necessarily believe in the gods, is it something that you feel would question that faith, or do you just think it's all hokey? It's just magic in general.
I think from Oz's perspective, because he's atheist, or agnostic more so, he just doesn't think that he thinks that people are put in faith in those things, but really there are other things that are affecting them. Like someone just has magical powers and is able, knows how to wield magic, and there are all types of magic that you can wield. So he doesn't think about it in the perspective that there's some god that's turning things. Also, in fact, his friend being dead probably makes Oz think that maybe there isn't good, a god there to protect his friend, right? Like if he was really protected, then why is he Why did a gargoyle fall on his head?
Okay.
Can we do
God
can you do
then.
a religion check on the runes to see which? I mean, I guess it's Pharasma, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know
Divine.
it's divine. You also know that it is Pharasma related, but
Mm-hmm.
this is while a paladin may not know, it's not going to stop you from trying to know.
Okay.
So go ahead and give me. In this case, it's going to be a bit more difficult. But if you want to determine exactly what this might be, you can either ask or you can give me a spellcraft.
I will try the spellcraft.
Sure.
While he's doing that, as far as Rye's concerned, with
Nice.
oh, nice, damn, man, you're killing it. All right, I'll let you.
Fire.
You, while you are incapable, courtesy of events, it's not something that's unheard of. Gentle repose is a fairly common practice when you're trying to maintain things. Particularly, it is something that they use on, like withered flesh or someone that has some sort of a disease. You cast gentle repose to stop the state of aging. And knowing now that he had died 10 days ago, there's a reason that these runes have been instilled, particularly within a coffin, because 10 days for a body, that is far past long enough, and he should have been buried many, many days ago. Now, what did you have, Elo?
Oh, Rye doesn't. So, Rye doesn't deny the existence of gods. He knows very well that they exist. He just feels like religion is a form of slavery. He's seen religion used as a tool for atrocities. So it's not that he doesn't believe that there are divine entities out there. He just simply refuses to follow them because he feels like being in their service is akin to slavery.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sure. I like it. It's justified in feeling that way. Temerity, I think, understands the purpose. Torvin, do you think you'd be interested in the runes, or does it bother you? Does it matter? For Torvin.
Don't care.
Okay.
So long as the gods don't bother me, I don't bother the gods.
Sure. It sounds good. Then each of you take your corners. Zokar takes the middle left. Vashian will take the center right. And when you begin to move out of the building, you see that Kendra she's dressed herself accordingly, and she is carrying a lantern. She says that she will lead the procession. And she doesn't give anybody a chance to respond. She'll exit the building and start to walk to the Dreamwake. The cemetery is called the Restlands. It doesn't take you very long to start moving that direction. It's only about a mile out, but a mile can seem forever when you're carrying a coffin this large and this heavy. Petros was never a large man himself, but it's certainly an inordinate amount of weight. And things aren't super even. Oz, while offering as much as Oz can, is not a tall, strong, broad-shouldered individual. So you're like Rye, you're probably carrying a lot more than not. Eli, similarly, and Temerity, you're doing your fair share, but you're probably carrying more. Oz is honestly there as a figure piece, but caring for certain. The rain never quite stops pouring down. And I felt like I didn't have to say anything, but for those that are curious, yes, the coffin is closed. The rain and the wind carry on, but the thunder never seems to crash again. And you're there idle with your thoughts, wondering exactly what this is like. Some of you have seen a burial before, others have not. Is there some sort of eulogy? Was it supposed to already happen? Things have not been going according to how a normal funeral is to go. But then Kendra stops. It takes a moment. There's a shake. There's a pause. Perceptions, please, from the 4 of you. 5 of you, even.
Oops. I clicked the wrong thing.
Oofers.
23. Woohoo.
Oz is good.
Reroll.
Go for it.
My luck roll.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep that one, I guess.
I got one last one. Why not use it?
Go for it.
Wait, how many do we have? How many luck rerolls?
5.
5.
Oh,
Hey.
shit. Oh, okay. Well, wow. Yeah, I'll reroll.
Go for it. That's a
Do you
lot
have to
better.
keep your reroll?
No, you can pretty much roll it out. As if you are unhappy with it, you can keep re-rolling. You're stuck with it, whatever you end up landing
Yeah,
on.
you're stuck with
but you can't go
whatever
back. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like, you can't go back. to
Gotcha.
the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
one. That's what I meant.
Rye, you will see this. Eli, Oz, Torvin. But Temerity does not. Maybe it's the rain pouring down your face. It could be any number of reasons. Takes a moment at first, but everybody's eyes focus. Oz, you're the first to see it. It could just be the unnatural dark vision. One natural for you, but unnatural for most of the others. There's not one man. There's not 2 or 3. There's 12 men standing in the path, blocking your entrance into the cemetery known as the Restlands. One man seems to move forward. He steps to the front of the crowd. An older white man, hair pulled back tight, seem to be bound to each other, mutton chops, white. He looks over, specifically to Kendra. Far enough. Far enough, Lorimor. You can hear it. Unresolved hatred echoes. We been talking, and we don't want Lorimor buried in the Restlands. You can take him upriver and bury him there if you want, but he ain't going in the ground here. Kendra, incredibly swift to respond, her sadness swiftly transforming into anger. What are you talking about? I arranged it with Father Grimborough. He's waiting for us. The grave's already been... No, you don't get it, woman. We ain't gonna have no necromancer buried in the same place as our kin. So I suggest you move out while you still can. Folks are pretty upset about this right now. She says, necromancy? Are you really that ignorant? And when she says this, the men begin to pull their weapons, if you can call them that. Their pitchforks. They're literally lawn tools. These are farmers. They're not armored. They're farmers.
Bub,
Yes.
I'm carrying the majority of this weight, right?
Oh, yeah.
I set it down as soon as I see them
As
start
soon as
to...
you set it down, I think Oz kind of like runs over to Kendra as well.
I walk
Yeah,
up
I can
after
feel the weight move, and we just got it down.
Yeah, you
As-
don't hold a coffin up when one corner goes down.
As
Everybody
Rye,
comes down.
as Rye begins to drop the weight, and everybody can feel the seeming pressure dig into the grate of their shoulder right at the neck, and you can feel it starting to dip. Even if you didn't want to let go, it's going to hurt if you hold on. And you can hear the plop of his feet landing in the puddles of water. As Oz begins, or not Oz, but Rye begins to move forward.
Is there a problem? I say to Kendra as I walk up, I don't look at her, I'm staring right at whoever is in front there with the pulled back hair. Just staring him down as I say it, you know.
I'm assuming that you move up at least near Kendra so that you can
Yeah,
ask.
as I do, I you know,
You probably get a side glance of how she's looking at this point, even if you don't look directly at her. But you can see, like, her jaw tightens, and there's that, like, the muscle that traipses up to, like, the temple and the orbital socket is sort of, like, flexing reflectively, and the sadness is quickly shifting into anger. And
Yeah.
while she's carrying the lantern out in front of her, you can see the silhouette of this man and some of his look, this aged individual, all in farming gear. And she just says, Gib. She says the man's name, it's Gib. And he starts to retreat to the rear side. But what catches your eye specifically is that from her cloven, her gloved hand, the way that it's shaped and nestled around this lantern, the lantern cord, It almost looks like firelight seems to flicker up over her palm.
Little more to her than meets the eye.
And this, right here, is where we end tonight's session. Right before anything physical begins. Next session will begin with a fight. Or
Persuade him?
persuasion, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that first too. I think.
Yeah, I'm a very
You can
very
persuade with a
persuasive-
hammer, can't you?
You
I
can.
don't want to
Very
kill
persuasive
innocent
person.
people.
You can, in fact. All right. Well done, guys. Well done. How did you feel about your first session?
That was
Loved
great.
it. It's fun.
Great.
Good.
It's good.
Good.
It's fun. You're just trying not to talk over anybody, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
you
man.
you get to you're just talking to your camera for hours and hours a day. You don't get the little subtleties in the Zoom call when it's your turn. You know. Other than that, I had a great time, man. I
Perfect.
had a great time.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for joining us for session 1. Let's go ahead and get our shout outs so that everybody can be prepped for this. And I'll let y'all get out of here, or at least we can hit a short after session for a session 1. Let me pull this back up. I don't know why that's shifted away. Okay. We've got... Why is that not there?
Pecker and Doge survived.
And then we have the adventures of Pecker and Doge.
Oh my gosh.
The Peck.
Not if I get hungry.
Yeah, what's up with the creepy dog?
It's only one episode.
The creepy dog?
There's only one.
Yeah, my chat was like memeing about a gazebo before in my channel before I moved over here. And then you said a gazebo, and I didn't think they were talking about our campaign, but they were like, "Fear the gazebo." So I'm like,
Gazebo has
dogs
owned
by
me
the
for a
gazebo,
very long
dude.
time.
No, that's Hap. Hap is the town dog. Nobody owns Hap. But
Yeah.
Hap stays
Oh,
around
That's what happened.
and he chases off rodents and he's friendly to everyone.
So no one would miss him.
I like that. I don't like rodents. So.
Lord, y'all are killing me. What is the best advice you can give to a player exploring a fresh campaign? I'll tackle that. You know, I'm gonna hit that in my Discord. I want to give these guys a chance to get out of here after we do our short post show. So we're gonna go round robin here and give you guys an opportunity to do your shout outs. And we'll start first with Cobalt. Cobalt, tell us about your boss.
What's up? I'm CobaltStreak. I've been streaming for 9 years on Twitch. This is my 9th year. I play a lot of indie games like Binding of Isaac, Darkest Dungeon, Terraria. I've been playing a lot of Balloons TD lately. This is my first D&D campaign, and thank you so much for inviting me. I had a lot of fun.
Good.
Can't wait to see where this goes.
Good, very happy to. Guys, make sure you go over and you follow Cobalt and check out some of the nonsense that he's up to. Some good stuff. Next, we got Misty as
geez.
playing today's Temerity.
Hi, I'm Imperial. I've been streaming for not that long, but like 6 years, 5.5. I don't know, a long time. I do everything from playing games to what I'm primarily known for, which is sewing on Twitch. But I do a whole lot of everything, and please make sure you sub to that bub guy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Next, we've got Wyld. Let's hit it, boss. Tell me about you. Where can we find you? What are you doing?
Hello. Yes, I'm Wyld on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Just you can find me. I do a large amount of Minecraft, so long as it's modded. And I mod pretty much any game that exists if I can. And some of those that you can't, I have found ways. I do role-playing games. I'm actually really doing a big run at the moment into different survival games. And the more harder the game it is and the dynamic and systems, the better. But yeah, I'm pretty much live every day. If I'm not, then I'm not. But yeah, lots of games of randomness, but a large amount of blocks.
Perfect. All right. We have Maggie. Tell us about you and Oz.
Hey, you can find me at MargaretKrohn in all of the places because I'm MargaretKrohn. I do a lot of tabletop RPG stuff, so if you want to see some more of that and ridiculous other characters, come check it out. I've played a wide variety of them. For a living, I make video games. So if you want to check out the game that I currently work on, it is called Ashes of Creation, and you can find it at Ashes of Creation in all of the places.
Perfect. We have Ello. Tell us about your boss.
Hey guys, I'm sorry that my character tried to kill a dog. That's the thoughts and opinions of Rye do not necessarily reflect that of Ellohime. I stream a lot of variety. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. I stream most evenings, like every other night, pretty much at like 11:30 p.m. Eastern. All sorts of games. Right now I'm on a Escape from Tarkov kick. In fact, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm going to start up my stream, and we're going to start doing some scav and some PMC runs, customs and reserves if you guys are playing EFT. If not, I invite you. It's a really super fun game, if a little technical and difficult at times. But you guys are happy to join me anytime or not at all, whatever you want. It's pretty laid back where we live. So
Perfect. That leaves me, guys. I'm Bub. I do Bub things here, right on Twitch at this place that you're currently at. I do a lot of variety gaming myself. Currently, I'm in like Green Hell and Journey to a Savage Planet. I am running this every Tuesday night. Hopefully, as long as everybody can keep showing up, that's the go-to. Wednesday nights, I do Shackled City, which is almost 200 sessions long. That's another tabletop game that I've been running here. I can be found Saturday with Maggie over on Roll For It, where I play as Ollie, a vampire. It's a kindred on Vampire the Masquerade's Silence of Shadows. And you can also check out my VTM podcast, where I perform as Duke, a Ventru with a storied past surviving in modern New York. And as always, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. I'll probably pop into Discord shortly after this. So if you guys want to ham it up about the game or just talk about it, we have an area specifically for Haunting of Harrowstone. You guys can talk about the characters, share your fan art, anything and everything in between.
I want to see fan art.
Yeah, I'm down to see it as well. I want to see fan art of everybody's characters so far. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But that's me, guys.
I do want to figure
just
out
real
the tattoo
quick.
he's got.
Oh, what'd you say, Wyld?
That tattoo that he's got, my Torvin's got. I really want to figure that out. That's going to be a thing.
That's gonna look cool. Just to echo Imperial, Bub works really hard on this, guys. So if you had some fun, do consider subscribing.
Oh, thank you.
And he's a really good guy, great DM. So thank you, Bub, for having us and putting so much work into this.
Thank
you,
Bub.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
We're going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to catch them for like a 10-minute after show, and then I'm going to release them to the wild. So I will see you guys tomorrow with
Wyld.
Well,
To the
perchance.
wild.
to the wild, you animals. I'll catch you tomorrow. We're doing Shackled City episode like 194, I think. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, I'll catch you then. Have a good one. Do what you do. I'm out of here. Peace.